And I'm on mute. Welcome to Tabletop Cinema, where we bring together the worlds of filmmaking, tabletop role-playing, and video games. I'm your host Mikey, a freelance filmmaker, tabletop RPG game master, and variety streamer on Twitch. And today we'll be returning to our first playthrough of Citizen Sleeper. We're in part 4, episode 4, and a lot of complications have arisen, and we're just trying to survive. Let's see if you don't piss off the mafia, the corporation, and other people along the way. We escaped as a sleeper, a digitized consciousness in an android frame. As a sleeper, we escaped from the big bad evil corpo SN ARP, who basically turned us into slaves. So we escaped from them, and now they want us back because we are proprietary technology. It's a whole bunch of other stuff, but we met some friendly faces along the way, experienced some bittersweet vignettes, and started to get to know a lot of the people on this station. We were in Cycle 15. Thank you to Big B's Gaming Hand for that follow while I was offline. I do appreciate it. We are at 168 followers a year into streaming. Things are good. We're back. So back to this dice placement board game. There are a lot of things to keep track of here and limited actions in a day. I am fading. I am almost out of medicine, which is required to keep us alive because your body was designed to die without the medicine, which is only provided by the corporation. So that's how they get you. But we've found a source in the black market, but things are getting complicated for our doctor. Our doctor who has a past of them. They have their own past that they're not really divulging, but we need to get Sabine out. Sabine is involved with something bad with Yatagan, and they need your help to escape. So that's our doctor, but there's a bunch of other stuff here as well. Like, we have to free our vending machine friend. Long story there. We have to disable our tracker. Let's keep track of what we have to do. So it'll refresh my memory as well. So these are our drives, our objectives for this session. Fang has said he will disable your SNR tracker if he can get to the bottom of his mystery first. Fang is tied up. Well, Fang has disappeared on his quest to unmask a remnant of the old world. A guy who's infiltrated the ranks of this newly established station And he's been skimming stuff. He's been skimming money off the top based on some evidence that we uncovered. So Feng is trying to reveal all that, but he's getting himself into trouble because this guy is a big shot at his corporation. Flotilla Aid. This is the new update, which was just released last month. Esh and Peak need help gathering supplies for the refugee flotilla quarantined past the wastes. Will you help them? So we need to find mushrooms, which is connected to getting to know Emphis, who's been regularly feeding us for a bit of cash. Emphis loves two things, stories and food. Maybe if you can supply him with both, you can hear his story. So we need to be finding some Girl caps. So that's for the flotilla aid and getting to know Emphis. Free New Event. New Event is hiding from the Hunter Protocol. They need your help to counter it. So it is more in line with my frame, which is a specialist in interfacing. So working with digital interfaces, hacking, slicing, stuff like that. That's our frame. So we've been trying to earn some credits, or cryo, as it's called here. Hacking some data, selling the data, and trying not to get deleted by the Hunter Protocol. Another remnant of the previous iteration of this station. Sabine, mentioned Sabine, that's our doctor who was kind enough to find us a supply so we don't die. Sabine has a history. I have a feeling they were part of a corporation before, perhaps. They, but, they got in trouble with the Yatagan, the mafia here. So we're going to try to get them out. Get to know Emphis. We did that. And win a sidereal ticket. I got that right this time. Sidereal. Workers on the sidereal crew get entered into a draw for the colony ship's live-in crew. So we met a father and his daughter. And they've been working on this ship nonstop. The dad is super fatigued. But he's doing it so that they have a chance to win a ticket onto the ship so they can go into another solar system and start anew, away from everything. So this is about surviving in the ruins of capitalism, as the back of the box description would say, and our journey begins by ending this cycle. We don't have any dice left. Oh, by the way, a bounty hunter's after us, and he's squeezing us for cash before returning us to the corporation because, he thinks that's boring. So before that, we have a tracker on. We have to get rid of that because I don't think I can maintain paying this guy's debts or this guy's tab. Ethan, was it? Ethan is back at the bar, still drinking. How much longer can this really go on for? So these clocks are ticking. Things are not looking good for me. My prospects are not looking good. But, so let's see what the next day brings us. Should I inject my stabilizer? Yeah, we need more dice, right? I think we could go for one more day without it. I hope so. Ah, shit. Okay. We're gonna need some energy. But we need money as well. So what did we want for Sabine? Extract Yatagan data for Sabine. So let's go ahead and do that. We've been selling our Yatagan data. We have 2 though. Maybe we can return with a console. We need 3 Yatagan data. So, but the Hunter Protocol. When this fills up, we push our luck. We have to get rid of the Hunter Protocol before it's really safe to hack. But we can afford this. What if I put in a... I don't know, okay. So some gang enforcers' implants are chirping out comm signals. Time to see what they are talking about. So from the safety of my own container, I start reaching out into the cloud. And nice. We got 2 Yatagan data. We got a perk that allows us to get more out of our interfacing. And this is good because we only have like 6 attempts before the Hunter Protocol finds us. So back to real space. This seems urgent. We need to get our doctor out. Also because if I don't get medicine, I die. So let's give these data caches skimmed from Yatagan hardware. Sabine's terminal sits open in the empty apartment, waiting for the next batch of Yatagan data. The terminal chirps, the data quickly tucked away in Sabine's encrypted system. Yatagan hack, this is the clock we're trying to fill. With enough data on Yatagan's activities, Sabine might be able to bargain for their freedom. Let's keep it up. One more. This should be enough for Sabine. Continue. We are in Unit 207F. We have to deliver this data physically, I think, in person to the terminal, to Sabine's apartment. We don't know where they are. As you turn away from the terminal, the final cache of Yatagan data uploaded, the air crackles with white noise. Sleeper. Sabine's voice, weaker than before, comes through the haze. Sabine? A sigh of relief comes through the layers of noise. The call must be coming in from somewhere on the station. This has to be short. I don't know if Yatagan are monitoring me. Their voice is hushed, distant. You try to focus on it. The data you've been bringing in from Yatagan agents? There's something in it I don't understand. A shrill howl rattles through the signal. This data is all gleaned from their implants. Records of integration with their nervous systems, performance analysis, error rates, usage data. I installed many of these implants, and I didn't enable any of this functionality. Their voice dips under the level of the noise, like a swimmer slipping beneath the water. Again, I love these descriptions from this GM. You listen to the waves for a few seconds before Sabine reemerges. Has to be somehow baked into the wetware's interface. And that's not all. The systems compiling this data are connected to some kind of transmission protocol. It's being broadcast. Wait, why? Every Yatagan enforcer is equipped with black market implants, retinal enhancements, adrenaline boosters, pain suppressors. These implants are gathering data on themselves, on the enforcers' bodies, on their performance. Why? I can't tell. Maybe they get carted off to the corp. But I can promise you these foot soldiers have no idea this is going on. The background tone switches, dropping to a grainy rumble. If they knew, I don't imagine they would be happy with the situation. Yatagan could have a mutiny on their hands. You lean toward the terminal, straining to listen to Sabine's faint voice. I need a few cycles to pull this all together, but this might be the information I need to pressure Yannick into releasing my debt. Why is that familiar? Yannick? He is one of the heads of Yatagan. They pause. It is better you don't know him. Keep it that way. Suddenly, a banging echoes through the call. Sabine's voice is suddenly whispered, panicked. I have to go. Come back in 4 cycles. Then the sharp crack of a disconnect, and silence fills the apartment. You step back from the terminal. What does Yatagan have to gain from monitoring its own members? You try to recall what you know about the gang, but you have little to go on. You think of Toshiro, Sabine's minder, his mirrored teardrop implants set below hard eyes. What data could they be gathering? And more importantly, where are they sending it? Did they just click approve all for all the cookies? You reflexively rub your forehead, trying to think. Can you really trust Sabine? How did they come to be Yatagan's doctor in the first place? You think of their kindness, their care, but also that glazed look of recognition that they gave you when they first met you. They probably worked on a lot of sleepers before, and they probably left because of it. That look stays in your mind as you slip back out of the apartment, glancing around as you close it up and drift into the corridors of the station, unable to shake the unpleasant sensation of being observed. Okay, we come back in 4 cycles. Wait for Sabine to make contact. We are painful patients. Oh my god, can we even survive with 1 stabilizer left for 4 cycles? Wait, we can always buy it for 100 credits, but we also need to pay Ethan's tab, so we need money. And we don't have enough energy to do enough actions to earn money. This is terrible. And so that's how this game goes. So we are waiting for Sabine to be ready. Waiting for Sabine to be ready makes you anxious. If Yatagan finds out what they are up to, I don't know what will happen. Okay, moving on to the next one. Neovend. We're trying to fabricate a ship mine for our good friend Neovend, so we can get rid of the Hunter Protocol. However, we already used up our scrap allowance, so this will have to wait. God damn it. How many more days until we have to pay off the tab? Ugh, 3 more cycles. Okay. What can we do then? Can we sell Havenage data? We might need Havenage data, however. It's okay, we can always hack it after. We need our credits, so let's go ahead. Oh no, they're tracking Yatagan. It's okay, we already submitted the Yatagan data. We might need more, but let's sell our extra. So a slate in the office advertises that Havenage are looking for informants on gang activity in the eye. They'll pay. 10 cryo. Okay. We need 1 more shipmine fragment. I'm not sure what this is for. We're not yet sure. But this is how we find Feng. Take me to Tambor. Maybe we have to investigate other locations, but we only have a few dice left. Let's work our way to getting our position in the junior tech to probably secure, for some financial stability, right? It would be a waste to use the 6, however, because we already have a +1 to interfacing. But this is a 24% chance. Yeah, let's do it. Aha! Positive outcome. Once the shift is done, you close your eyes and see the webs of systems running inside the sidereal horizon. You are a natural at this work. Yes. And we can actually finish this clock already. What else should we do? We could do this, get a junior tech free. Once we get the ticket, I've already convinced myself to give it to the father and his daughter. So this is on hold. This is on hold for now because we don't know where to get salvage right now. We lost our job at the salvage yard. That's unfortunate. That is a good source of shipmine fragments. Disable your tracker. We have to find Feng. So we have to continue investigating the station. And perhaps the lower priority is finding mushrooms. Okay. Let's finish this action. Make it a productive day. We got it. We are a junior tech. The systems team is looking for new members. Prove yourself a reliable tech, and you are in. Let's see what happens. At the shipyard. Each shift, a crowd of would-be workers gathers outside the shipyard, each of them clinging to a 4-digit number printed on receipt paper. These are their assignment numbers, and you are either called for a shift or you aren't. As you arrive, the crowd is restless and chatter rumbles through the lines. For those who, like you, have graduated to the work teams, shifts are guaranteed. Having just walked out of a meeting with a supervisor where you were praised for your efforts, you feel the glow of a job well done. Yet you can't help but feel empathy for those huddled as you pass, waiting for their number to come up. You keep your head down as you leave the shipyard, feeling a little guilty as you do. Lem and Mina, here. Hey, Sleepa, wait up. Lem's voice trembles as he shouts above the rumble of the crowd. And you turn to see him pushing through, Mina crying in his arms. Lem. Good to see you, friend. He's breathing hard after shouldering through the waiting workers. You made the work team. Good for you. He tries to catch his breath, stroking Mina's hair as he does. Shh, baby. Give me a second here. He smiles weakly at you as he comforts her, and her cries start to fade. Out of the crowd, he sets Mina down by his side, shiny streaks down both of her cheeks. As he does, you see he is clutching an assignment number on a crumpled piece of paper. Is Mina okay? She's good. We just had to rush up here. He puts his hand on her shoulder and she clings to his side. Esther, who usually takes her, is sick. He stretches. I don't know. A noise sounds from the entrance, a klaxon, followed by a list of numbers growing brightly on a display screen. The crowd responds instantly, pushing and pulling as people try to wade to the entry checkpoint. Lem stops and turns back towards the crowd, then glances down at the crumpled paper. That's my number. Shit. Mina. He starts patting the pockets on his gear and glancing around. Oh, are we gonna babysit? Okay. Go. I'll watch her. He blinks a little, staring. Thank you. Thank you, I'll... He crouches to Mina. You're gonna stay with our friend here, okay? They're going to keep you safe, and... He stands back up. Here, take her bag. He shoves it into your hands. She's got food. She's got... Shit, I have to go. He backs away into the crowd. Mina, I'll be back real soon, okay? Be good. Then Lem disappears into the roiling crowd, who are now trying to get into the shipyard before it locks down. Mina stands staring, suddenly small without Lem at her side. She fixes you with a dark-eyed look you can't quite read. Oh, Mina. Hey, Mina. She holds the stare, unmoving. The two parallel tear tracks still glint on her cheeks. Look in the bag. You unlatch the top of the bag and see a few metal containers fashioned from scrap components. A battered slate sits on top, blinking a low battery warning, and tucked beside it is a ragged rabbit, hand-sewn. Give her the iPad or give her the rabbit? Let's take the rabbit. Because we see the art, there's a rabbit. Take the rabbit. You pull the rabbit out of the bag, its long limbs waggling as you do. Mina goes to jump and grab it, but holds herself back. She stands and hugs herself, eyes on the rabbit. What's their name? Mina turns away and looks at the entrance to the shipyard. This isn't going well. Give her the rabbit. You hold the rabbit out and Mina snatches it from your hand. Well, her father's gone, she needed the rabbit. She hugs it tightly without looking away from you. Ban, she says, staring you down, ferocious despite her size. Hi, Ban. You move a little closer as you speak, closing the gap. He doesn't speak, she says. She looks at you suspiciously, but her face softens a little. She waggles Ban in front of you and then walks him up your arm and onto your shoulder where he sits. Adorable. She pokes your arm a couple of times. Are you really a robot? Not really. She thinks. Me too. Mina has more questions. Lots of questions. Questions about how you breathe or if you rust. But before long, you are talking about rabbits and what Esther, the lady who usually takes her, smells like, and whether or not fairies live in the ice heating pipes. Sorry. You pass the time like this, sitting side by side on the floor of the walkway as others pass by, sometimes talking, sometimes drawing on the slate, sometimes playing with Bun the rabbit. And this is how Lem finds you, just as both of you are starting to yawn. He's dirty and tired, but Mina leaps up his legs and into his arms as he stumbles backwards. You two get on okay? He asks, trying to keep Mina from climbing onto his shoulders. More than okay. Mina shoots you a smile from Lem's arms, her suspicion gone. Well. Looks like Minnie can be nice. He pokes her in the ribs and she squeals in delight. Thank you, friend. I mean it. He gives you a warm, wide smile. I owe you. Look, he glances around. It seems like Esther, the lady who usually watches her, is going to be out for a spell. If you ever have some time, I'd really appreciate you coming down to our place in the low end. He grins sheepishly. If you have time. Oh, they live in the low end. But now I have to take this one to eat. He plays at biting Mina, and she giggles in response. See you, sleeper. He waves, and they stumble off down the corridor, drawing cases from passing spacers as Mina's laughter echoes down the corridor in bright squeals. Okay, we have another drive. Okay. Help Lem work. If Lem wants to leave the sidereal horizon, he'll need someone to watch Mina while he works his way onto the construction crew. Okay, watch Mina while Lem waits. And 2 for 1 will also be helping complete the sidereal horizon, so they'll actually have a ship to board. So this is the next stage of it. Sidereal fit up. Your work as a junior tech has qualified you to work in the team handling the final tech fit up of the Sidereal Horizons bridge. A vast job. Look at that, holy shite. There's a lot on this clock. The vast colony ship is coming together block by block. Each cycle you see another piece slot in place. This looks like a super long-term project. You probably have to at least dedicate a die a day to the Sidereal Horizon. Let's try and see if we can keep that up. But right now, we need energy, we need food. Ah, crap. Okay. That's gonna be a long time. Lem is over at low end. Here, Lem and Mina's hut. Lem can't work. Oh, it's a die. It's a die. We need a die. Lem can't work shifts at the shipyard unless someone watches Mina. You two seem to get along last time, and Lem is desperate. So this is in service of this clock. A ticket out. Unless Lem gets time in the shipyard, he won't qualify for the sidereal crew. Okay. And it's a lottery to boot. Watching Mina gives him that chance. So we're gonna need this. It's a 0. It's a safe action though. So... But we want this positive outcome. It requires 2, 4, 6. 3 positive outcomes. Let's see if we can guarantee that. But for now, we need to eat something. And we need to explore and look for Tambour. What the hell is Tambour? Where do we find Feng? See, the grinning penguin says, take me to Tambour. And the strangest thing, I vaguely remember the mention of a penguin at some point in the game. Or was that just my imagination? Anyway, maybe it's one of these things where in the spoke or something, where we have to investigate further. But right now, we are fading. We're low on energy. Ah, shoot. Okay, when will the scrap come back? Oh, damn it. We need this. I think we can afford some cheaper rations. But for 5 more credits, we have a better quality meal. Crap. This can actually be a tough game. We could also just keep playing the market, but that's just for credits and it doesn't really help anyone else. So that's quite... In this case... Yeah. Damn it. Okay. Think. Let's eat at Emphasis Stall. We need the food. 5 credits. Let's go. Spiced fungus. Medicine. We need to plug that in. Last dose. Okay. You feel the stabilizer fizzing inside you. Your artificial muscles cramping in sequence. And... what else can we do with credits that don't require dice? Again, I am longing for a drop-down menu which shows all the interactables. So this will require dice. This is a super long-term one for the Sidereal Bridge. Have Vintage Offices is still tracking Yatagan, but no, we need these ship mine fragments. Dock C4, they're not yet back. Possible chance to get ship bind fragments. Overlook bar. Sealed dock where Neo Vend is. Sabine's surgery. It is 100 cryo. By the vial. That's it. I think that's all we can do today. We're gonna have to pay Ethan's damn tab. We can also investigate low end a bit more. Oh no. What's this? Oh, no one knows you here. You'll need to change that if you have access to lower end residents and facilities. So we could go step by step. Since we're starting to spend more time in low end, we could probably try and help the people out. And look here, this is also plus energy. So block maintenance might help us maintain our energy. Okay. Let's see what the next day brings us. Since our itinerary is also partially determined by the dice results we get, which we can reroll once a day. That's good for hacking. We need to dedicate a die per. Okay. We're just waiting for Sabine, and we're waiting for the merchant ship. Should we get the mushrooms? I don't think we can afford flotilla aid right now and getting to Emphis. Let's work on getting some cash. It's a dangerous job though, so let's ensure a positive outcome. It also earns us some money. Let's start with this. That is gonna take a while. You spend the shift in a flow state, linking systems to systems like thread on a loom. Your mind is a diagram of cause and effect. Should I just spam dice into this? Nah, let's get Lem on the ship as well. Sell data maybe? Okay. Babysit Mina. Lem can't work in the yards. Let's put it at a 4. Sure. Neutral outcome. Mina leads you on a winding tour of the block, chatting on the neighbors and collecting snacks. For a while, you forget about everything else. Another neutral one. Okay, what do we do with the 1s and 2s? Let's reroll these. We need more actions in real space. We got a 5. Okay. Let's go for a 50-50 chance for babysitting Mina. No, let's use it to hack. Hack something. Let's hack Yatagan. Let's get some money. Is this a +3 result? Can I make it a +3? No. So they need Hayatagan data. But it needs 1s and 3s. Are we out of luck? Keynode, Havenage agent, Yatagan agent. 1 or 3. 1 or 3. Well, crap. Sure. Let's continue to mine. Or we can try to explore if it's safe. No, it's dangerous. Scale the spoke. We can just climb it. No, low end. Let's get to know low end. But it's risky and risky. Okay. Let's continue watching Mina. Spending time there and then working at the shipyard after. Neutral outcome. Okay, halfway there. Not bad. Here we go. Guarantee a positive outcome for the sidereal fit up. Nice. That's it for now. Let's turn in for the day. I really hope that tab does not keep going up, because that would be terrible for us. Very terrible. Good, we got some good dice results here. We can plug it here. The sidereal fit up. Let's get that ship ready. Interfacing, paying off. Oh god, one more day before paying off this damn guy's tab. Tambur, where the hell is Feng? We need to find Feng, actually. That might be a priority rather than helping out Lem and Mina, but they need it. Okay. Come on, give us a Nice! Positive outcome. By the end of the day, Mina curls up in your lap as you read her a story. She's asleep when Lem gets back and you two eat together. Okay. Will you get a ticket? She's asleep, whispers Lem, creeping back out of the unit's tiny bedroom, sliding the door shut as he does. You are perched at a thin bar in the main room. The slate in front of you is still glowing. You're perched at a thin bar in the main room. The slate in front of you still glowing with Mina and your drawings from a cycle spent together. There's a ring, the only world Mina has known, with stick figures standing along its edge. The tall one is you. Drink? Asks Lem, producing a worn-looking bottle of Girol from under the bar. I really hope I'm pronouncing that properly. But a lot of it's fungus here. Understandable. Its contents glowing amber in the fluorescent light. Sure. Lem nods and glugs a few fingers into a couple of metal tumblers. Glugs a few fingers. Is that what you like? Pick it up. Then sits down with you at the bar. Cheers, he offers, and you clink the metal containers together. You know, we actually have something to celebrate this time around. Lem gives you a sideways look. I made the assembly team on the Sidereal. He grins broadly. Clearly, he has been desperate to tell you all cycle. That is amazing. Lem holds up his drink. Couldn't have done it without you keeping an eye on little Beanie back there. Lem shifts a little on a stool. He looks uncomfortable. How's our girl doing, Sleeper? I haven't seen much of her these past cycles. He already knows that she misses her. A little tricky. Doing great. Doing great. Of course she is. He playfully squeezes your shoulder. She talks about you a lot, you know? She draws you. Draws you? Oh, you know? Draws you. I'm glad she has a friend that isn't me. His eyes drift to the bedroom door. I have a bad feeling about this. I have a feeling the ticket's only maybe for like one person. And he might give the ticket to his daughter. Wait, we don't know. Have a bad feeling. But she's great. She's great. He nods. I can't take all the credit from Mina. She isn't actually mine. He gazes into the middle distance. Gazing into the middle distance. Learning ways to describe some things. I pulled her off of a refugee shuttle out by one of Ember's moons. The colony was falling apart for decades after Solheim collapsed, surviving on next to nothing. Eventually, some of the residents tried to make for the eye on these decrepit old shuttles. He sloshes the drink around in his tumbler. They had no idea what they were doing. The one Mina was on decompressed halfway here. Everyone spaced. The only reason she made it was someone sealed her in a weapon locker. She was ice cold when I reached her. Purple lips. He shivers. Once I picked her up, I wouldn't let go. The medics treated her with me still clinging to her. He takes a drink. Still not sure why. He reaches over and refills his cup. We weren't exactly anybody's heroes, so you understand? We were private military, hired in by Conway to protect their claims in the collapse. The ones that got Mina, that was it. I quit. Got us dumped here. You saved her. I'm going to sound like an idiot now, but he sighs. She saved me. That's the truth of it. He looks around the decaying unit, its stained plastic plating and flickering lights. Me? I brought her to this. She was tiny, too small to know what she lost. But I can't stop thinking about it. He rubs his eyes, dark with tiredness. What if a number doesn't come up in the draw, Sleeper? What then? The sidereal will sail off without a thought, leaving us here. What kind of life is that for her? She'll manage, stay silent. You'll make it whether it's on the ship or together on the eye. Sorry, I know you don't have it any better. He looks at his cup and pushes it away down the bar. This is a celebration, right? Both of us in the team now. Both of us with a chance. I'm gonna give him my ticket if I ever get it. Together. That's right. We hold on together. Imagine, all three of us riding the sidereal horizon out of here. To a new world. Red flags! He looks into his glass for a moment. I think I drank this too fast. He laughs. Lem stands and starts to clear the glasses into the auto wash. I need some sleep, friend. I'll see you around, Lem. Alright then. He catches your shoulder as you turn to leave. Thank you, Sleeper. I mean it. From both of us. He pats your shoulder and you slip out into the dark of the walkway, with thoughts of little Mina in your mind. Aww. Yeah, you have an upgrade. We have 2 upgrade points. What do we do? Good robot. We helped a friend and had fun with Bun Bun. We got an achievement for that. Maybe we should really invest in this. +2 to interfacing? Yeah, since our job now is about interfacing, let's do it. But these perks are interesting. See, sun-based dice action allows energy. No, but you need dice to recover energy, so. So, since now we're on the team, let's really maximize our interfacing. Let's do it. Oh, sorry, it requires 3 points. Let's save. One more. So you have 1 more die. We were able to help them out. Let's re-roll this 1. Aha! It's a 5 now. Perfect. We could get more work done on the Sidereal Bridge. Get more credits. What do we do? Sure. Let's make the most out of this. Wow, we're actually making some progress. Sweet. Status is still okay. We really need credits for medicine and paying off Ethan's stupid tab. We're gonna have to pay it tomorrow. God. And it's gonna keep going up, so we really need to find Feng. Shit. Okay, let's find Feng. Bring me to Tambor, wherever that is. Good dice rolls, good dice rolls. Dedicate 1 die to income. What else can we do? Pay off here, Ethan. At the compressor club. The compressor is quiet today. The usual crowds are elsewhere. and the pumping music washes over a handful of spacers and a few drunks. Ethan is still in the same stool, in the same pool of light. His head is low, close to the bar, and the bartender is ignoring him. Approach him. As you get closer, he lifts his head and turns. "Sleeper!" He turns to look at you. "Time to pay up again, is it?" He gestures to the bartender. What if I just leave this guy alone? Will he even remember? He gestures to the bartender. "Come here. Take the chits." How long can I keep this up? No more, Ethan? Then what? He's gonna shoot me? Bring me to the... One more day. Let's buy one more day. Or one more cycle. To find Feng. Need to get rid of this tracker. The bartender ignores Ethan. It seems they've cut him off. Oh. "Hey!" He slams a hand on the bar. "Come take the chits!" The bartender ignores him. Ethan lets out a huge sigh, rubbing his eyes with his palms. He reaches towards his holster. Oh shit. His elbow slips and the gun tumbles out. It clatters on the bar and falls to the floor, bouncing onto the ground between you. Both you and the bartender look at the gun. Stare at it. "Butterfingers," says Ethan, and puts out a hand, beckoning for you to give him the gun back. "If you would." The bartender looks at you warily. You crouch down and pick up the gun. In this setting, are guns biometrically registered to the owner? If so, then it's not even gonna work if you point the gun. I wish I knew that, rather than risk pointing the gun and not know about, biometric locks on their weapons. Did that come up in the game? I can't remember if it came up at all. Or did it? I can't remember. But let's try it anyway, huh? Point the gun at Ethan. Ethan turns his head in your direction a little, a sharp pale eye locking with yours. The bartender backs away. Oh. He turns on the stool. "Oh, sleeper." He stands. "This is more like it." Oh, that's what he's looking for, huh? No, I remember Bina and all the stuff we planned to do. Do I want to be murderer now? Okay, the corp's not gonna give a shit if I off this bounty hunter, right? Let's see if he moves for the gun. If he does, I shoot him. Wait. You hold the gun steady, training it on his head. Ethan smiles. "Like the dog that caught the car." He turns to the bartender and mock whispers. "I'm not sure they know what to do with it." Wait. You keep the gun on Ethan. Ethan smiles at the bartender. "What?" "Oh well," he says, and grabs the gun, slamming it back into your face in a single move. Jeez. I didn't even get a roll or like a deck save for that. You stagger back and drop to a knee. Somewhere nearby, the gun clatters onto surface. At least I spiced up that scene. The hit's a glancing blow, but it makes your vision swim. Through the blur, you see Ethan wrestle a small, thin slate from his belt and hold it up. "Enough of this. I'm logging the job and calling it in." Ethan taps at the slate. "No more playing." Your head aches. Ethan taps through a few screens impatiently. He swears and taps again. He starts shouting, a dull echo to your ringing ears. "Huh? He starts screaming at the slate and throws it across the bar. Was he fired? He crouches down and grabs you by the chin, his face close, his breath heavy with drink. Essen Arp just screwed me. He grins maniacally. They cancelled the contract. What? He stands up. They cancelled the contract! He shouts at the ceiling of the compressor. Probably because he was playing around. And SNR was expecting results. You stand up, struggling to your feet, the sting of the hit fading. Ethan is rubbing his temples, his face pale. You hear a clicking sound, like coins being counted. Like bullets being loaded into a magazine. When you shake off the last of the blur, the bartender has Ethan's pistol trained on Ethan's head. Ethan stumbles back towards the middle of the room, all eyes trained on him. I'll kill all of you! He screams. He stumbles into the wall, spinning away towards the door. I'll be back for that! He shouts at the bartender and lunges out of the compressor. Ooh. You steady yourself on the bar and catch your breath. The rumble of conversation returns. The bartender goes to say something, but then thinks better of it and begins to clean the bar. After a while, you wander out into the light of the bright market, looking for Ethan around every corner. Well, shit. Hey, he has no more reason to... Oh, what's it? What is this now? Ethan's vendetta. Ethan may be disarmed, but you doubt you've seen the last of him. Jeez. So Ethan's vendetta is going to take a long time. This is probably a long timer to get my shit together and find Feng. One more cycle before we get Sabine. Did we already work at the sidereal today? Yeah, we did. We've dedicated 1/5 result to that. Let's find this. The grinning penguin says, take me to Tambor. So we have 3 places we can explore, actually. We have... Oh, we can actually work at the Overlook Bar if we want. But that's if you wanna... Tips might work. So we have places to investigate. We have low end. And we have low end, the free spoke, and looking for a penguin, and the greenway. Farm stacks, overgrown biosphere, walk the greenway. We could start the mushroom groves, forage for fungus. Because we need these Gerald caps. We have a 5 result here, and we can make 2 5 results. We can get... How many Gerald caps do we need for Emphis? Okay, anyway, we can investigate. We can explore the Greenway, and we can explore... Well, we can try to get into the Haifa commune. Work the grow beds if we become a Haifa member. Don't feel like joining a commune right now. What is in the wastes? If we had the perk, we probably could have gathered scraps here to get ship mine fragments, but we're gonna have to rely on credits to buy us out of this one. And that's it for the ring. Unless there's more over that way. So here is the expansion, or the patch, the recent patch, the free update. We need more Gerald caps. Hey, what's that? What is that notification? Oh, episode flux is the first of 3 episodic contents, blah 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 blah. Okay. Oh, be aware that this is intended for late gameplay. Okay. So that is gonna be endgame. Whatever the endgame here is. Okay, it doesn't look like... should we get the Gerald caps? We have some good results here. Let's check how many Gerald caps we need to get to know Emphis. I keep putting off finding Feng. We really need to find Feng. This requires 3 Gerald caps. But sure, that's for him. Maybe he'll tell us about Tambor. I don't know. Okay, let's do something new today. Let's try and collect mushrooms today. We have some good results over here. Thankfully, it's an intuit action, so we get +1. So we may as well use our 5 to get a positive outcome. The fungus that grows in the deep groves of the Greenway are typically avoided, but those with sharp eyes might find useful fruiting bodies. How many Gerald caps will this give us? Just 1? Deep in a vent core, you find the amber caps of Geralds. Okay, I need to know how to pronounce that. How to pronounce Gerald in French? English? Oh, what? Correct pronunciation of Girol? Wait. Zirol? How do you say that word? So it's French? Okay, Zirol. So it's French, and you pronounce it as Zirol. Okay. But it is a chanterelle mushroom. Pronunciation.
Girol.
Girol. Okay.
Girol.
That's what the Z is.
Girol.
Okay, we've been Girol. We've been kind of pronouncing it okay, I think. Girol. Okay. More Girols. One more Girol. Let's go. Okay, we got 3 for Emphis. That's good. In this micro ecosystem, they are protected from other stranger growths. Cool. Let's investigate low end with the last die. Then, before Ethan shoots us in the head, but he's out of a job. Come on. There's no reason to come after us anymore. Maybe we're gonna work together and get back at SNARP. Here's what you can do. This is +6. Block maintenance gives energy. Maintained by the residents, the ramshackle blocks are always in need of repairs. Helping out is a good way to make friends. It would be a waste to use a 6 on this, so let's guarantee a positive outcome here. It should help with low end, right? But maybe only 1 tick instead of 2 ticks if we play Tavla. But we could get some energy. Let's see what happens with energy. Oh, this is energy, the bottom. That doesn't seem... Oh, okay. A positive outcome still gives +2 here. You refit the long broken fans of a family's air filters. They insist you join them for dinner, and the children are delighted by your presence. Cool. Let's turn these mushrooms in. It's been a long time. Amphis loves two things, stories and food. Maybe if you sublime with both. Here we go. Pale peppery mushrooms used for flavoring I-made alcohol. Amphis wants to make this old recipe. He'll need 3 handfuls of girol caps, fresh and firm. Now, how do you pronounce fricasse?
Fricassee.
Fricassee. Girol fricassee. Or girol. With a... It sounded like there was a throaty sound to that. Girol. Never mind. Girol fricassee. Here you are. 3 mushrooms coming up. Amphis eagerly takes the bright yellow girol caps. He seems pleased with them. So we come back. Here we go. Girol prep. Amphis is working on gathering the ingredients and preparing the mushrooms. He doesn't like to rush these things. Alright. Give the chef some time. 3 days, 3 cycles. That's good. Getting Sabine out. We're waiting for Sabine to make contact. 1 more cycle. Cool. So tomorrow, or next cycle, we contact Sabine. Okay. Rotunda Wet Dock. 2 more days before we get the chance at buying the shipmine fragment for Neovend. And 1 more day if the Helion Crossing, the merchants might bring something cool as well. Okay. Havenage office is still looking for Yatagan. If we work with the Yatagan, then is that where we sell the Havenage data? I don't know. Turning in for the day. We need medicine. But thankfully, Ethan's not gonna ask for credits anytime soon, but he might ask for our blood because he seems quite unhinged. Okay, I think 4 dice is the minimum. 3 dice is so painful for a cycle. Okay, we have... Oh, here we go. Let's go to Sabine. Let's eat first. Oh, okay. He is busy, so I need to buy food here. 10 cryo, less energy, but yeah. It's cardboard. Sabine. Unit 207F. 4 cycles, Sabine said, and here you are, right on time, with no sign of them. Uh-oh. You wait a while in the apartment, the dread descending as the cycle spins onward. They should be here. Check the terminal. You check and double the terminal for messages or recordings. Nothing. Just the pale glow, the silence. Check the door. Uh-oh. You pace back and forth around the apartment, the rumbling of the station suddenly so present and loud. You go to the door and open it to an empty corridor. You close it again. Wait. You try to settle down, to wait. You sit on the bunk and stare out at the tiny room. Where the hell are they? A knock at the door. Stay still. Another knock. Stay still. Or is there a peephole? Oh shit. Loyal Yatagan Lieutenant Rabia. Cool outfit. A flash, small, impossibly bright, cuts through the handle of the door. It soundlessly swings open. A figure stands in the door, and immediately you know it is not Sabine. They are taller, sharper, and something in their face glints in the half-light. A dark shape, like a stubby baton, hangs loosely from her hand. Ooh. Seeing what it did to that lock? A local sleeper. Good to finally meet you. She steps into the apartment, glancing around with sharp eyes. What, may I ask, are you doing here? She fixes you with a steady, unwavering stare. Nothing. Stay silent. Well, I don't know she's a loyal Yatagan lieutenant. This my character doesn't know this. But I guess maybe those symbols on her shoulder? Does that scream Yatagan? Is there a Yatagan crest? So my sleeper has started to gain a bit more confidence and everything. Starting to stand up for herself and whatnot. Maybe just let's see. Or should we let the villain, if she is a villain, just keep talking? Waiting for a friend? No, let's stay silent. This will be much more pleasant if we remain friendly, don't you think? She walks past you into the apartment, glancing around. We set them up here, you know. This place is one of ours. She picks up a glass from the dispenser and inspects it. People always seem to forget who put them where they are. She glances at you. And I suppose you are here to help? Where are they? I was hoping you would be able to help with that. She spins the baton in her fingers by her side, her eyes not leaving yours. We have a problem, you and I. It seems our friend has disappeared. Left without even saying goodbye. Which means they are in a little trouble now. But it's the kind of trouble that you need help for. So I thought I'd come down here and take a look at their little hidey hole. And here you are. The help. She looks through the detritus on the side. And what help? A sleeper, no less. Which I have to admit is a little surprising. It suggests to me that our friend hasn't been very honest with you either. What do you mean? Well, I'm sorry to report that before we got them set up here, Sabine was working for your owners. She pauses. As in up. Well, yeah, that was predictable, but she still helped me. And there's this look of guilt and remorse at Thowell, I think. You blink hard at the news, unsure how to take it. It's unsurprising. Rabia looks away. Rabia? Waiting for a response. So what of it? Stay silent. She crosses into the next room, and you follow silently. She sits at the terminal and touches her baton to one of the access ports. A spark, then the terminal screen skips, encrypted folders emptying themselves before your eyes. What? In the flicker of files, you see SNARP letterheads and code forms, reports laden with medical data marked with the corporate logo like the sigil of some cult. Rabia steps away from the terminal. Look all you want. Some of your files may even be there. The volume of documents is overwhelming, but they seem to be mostly reports and early emulation tests. Surveys with sleeper candidates, reams and reams of usage data. If Sabine was an SNARP employee, why did they help you? Rabia reaches over and places a vial of stabilizer on the desk, breaking your concentration. Oh, she's gonna tempt me with the drugs. It shimmers in the screen light. It's viscous, clear liquid crystalline within the glass. Oh, it's viscous, clear liquid crystalline within the glass. We will, of course, keep up the supply. We are more than able to dispense important medicines, even without the doctor. You hold it between your fingers, and for a tiny moment, you have the urge to crush this object for the power it has over you. I will ask Toshiro to make those a little cheaper for you. He'll be running the surgery now. Rabia closes up the briefcase lab and holds it at her side. We have to retrieve our assets, of course, but I'm sure you understand. Rabia turns on her way out. There is no reason for us to be enemies, Sleeper. Come see me. I'll keep an office nearby. We have good work to do, you and I. Meet me there in a few cycles. She slips out silently into the corridor. You look around the apartment and feel the fear drain out of your body to reveal the tiredness beneath. Yep. Finally getting into conflict with the Yatagan. Hey! Upgrade available! 3 upgrade points. Let's go! What did we want to do? Interfacing +2, right? But I feel like my character's gaining so much intuition. But our work as a junior tech, I think we've been spending more time more equally. We've been interfacing and we've been intuitive in our approach into problems. So either one makes sense to upgrade right now. But perhaps given the vast amount of resources, or at least given access to more resources as a junior tech in Havenage, we could go for this and save up for +2 for Intuit. There we go. Maxed out icebreaker. Maxed out interfacing. So that's done with Sabine. What? How come it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? We have a week before Ethan does something. Are they back yet? Not yet. Are they here? Aha! We can buy a shipmite fragment. So what's annoying is you have a guarantee at 60 credits to put the cryo. To put in 60 cryo to guarantee a pull for the shipmite fragment. Compared to rummaging through the scrap, it's like a gacha. You're not guaranteed a shipmite fragment, so you might end up spending more. Now the problem is, the unfortunate thing is, we could have done this if we had engaged. We could have haggled over the prices, but 60 credits guarantees this right now. I wonder if I should do it. Premium price, guaranteed pull, no haggling. We do need a Viola stabilizer before it gets to... Okay, I think 3... it seems like such a waste because stabilizers bring you to full. So, in fact, it's like sometimes I want to go all the way down to 1 die before taking stabilizer, but that's limiting your actions per day so badly. You know, let's buy the fragment. Let's get rid of the ship. Let's get rid of the hunter protocol. Our job is about interfacing and slicing. We need to get rid of that hunter. Did we work today at the Sidereal Bridge? Oh, see, interfacing +2, so we can plug in a 4 here. Perfect. Get some cryo. Slowly but surely. Yeah, let's pay the 60. Let's get that guaranteed pull. I don't want to have to pity. Ouch. You reluctantly hand over the chits. You know they're fleecing you, but you need this. Because it's 20 cryo, I think, for a pull. For 1 pull at the docks. So, there's basically 3 pulls. And No, wait, no. You could have gotten scrap, and scrap could have been sold to offset the cost. Whatever. Fine. We spent 60 credits. At least we can go here now. Okay, to Rabia, it requires 2 cycles before we get to the Yatagan Lieutenant. A constant flow of people seem to be visiting Rabia's office. You'll need to wait your turn. Sure. I do like the soundtrack of this. It's so chill. But it sounds like, it's so chill, but it sounds like there's so much going on in the scene. Really suits it. Why is this red? Okay. Toshiro now runs a dispensary out of the block. He eyes you as you approach. There's no sign of Sabine. 80 credits. Okay, doesn't cost too much to survive. What are we gonna do? Oh, right. We're going to the market. We're going to go to the fabricator. Let's fabricate a ship mine. Let's go. Ship mines cannot be built from scratch, but if you have enough, salvage fragment can be reassembled with the fabricator. Got it. The fabricator whirs and crackles as it assembles the ship mine. It opens to reveal a completed but heavily dented unit. The core of a ship AI, amputated and in hibernation. Let's upgrade the processor of NeoVend. Returning to the sealed dock, we approach NeoVend. NeoVend wants to be smuggled out of the dock, and to do that, you'll need to provide a full ship mine ready for imprinting. Let's bring this AI to life. NeoVend is ready to attempt imprinting. They want you to help. NeoVend 33, a mysterious machine. Can I even trust NeoVend? Look how adorable it is. There, penguin. Oh, that's where I saw the penguin. It's here. The grinning penguin says, "Take me to Tambor." I don't know where Tambor is, but I guess it's whatever. Sleeper. So, this vending machine is talking to us through their 3D printing module, through the whirring and stuff like that. So it's quite interesting. Sleeper. Must express plan before we begin. NeoVend is impatient. The prospect of being free from the vending machine, free off the vending machine, clearly too much to take. Can we even trust NeoVend? Why am I getting suspicious now? Ship mine has no output features. We'll be mute until slotted. So what's the plan? The servo motors in the machine begin to rev. NeoVend's anxiety clear. First, imprint ship bind. Then, slot imprinted ship bind into physical ports close to Hunter nest. Once slotted, we'll track Hunter at each. Tracking will find core nest. Slot ship mine at core nest. Show Hunter data to Hunter. Hunter will conclude sentience. Hunter will invoke killer. So we're trying to get the Hunter to delete themselves. Because the Hunters has leftover programming to get rid of, a certain type, to get rid of sentient AI. So we're gonna convince the Hunter that, hey, you're sentient too, and it's gonna delete itself. Maybe. I don't know. Or will its sentience resist that? Will it resist its programming? So, let me get this straight. So, NeoVend's gonna track down the Hunter, slot ship mine at the core nest, show Hunter. Okay, so we gather data, then we plug it into the core nest with enough data to convince the Hunter. And killer will kill. Yes. The lights on the vending machine cycle as NeoVend prepares. Physical ports likely sealed in old station. We'll need keys. But yes. Simple. The vending machine rocks a little. Any questions before imprinting? Why slot you physically? I cannot access via network. Too dangerous. Hunter would find immediately. The lights flicker. I'm not like you, hybrid. Am native to cloud, easy prey. Makes sense. What's the core nest? Hunter keeps central's data storage. Protocol must keep data outside self. Link to secondary nests. Can triangulate from there. That's it. Let's start. The sound of all the servo motors starting up at once is painful. The screeches rattle from the hard surfaces of the sealed dock and come back at all angles. Neoven better be quick, or Havenet's security will be here. Neoven's voice appears among the squeals like a whisper carried by the wind. Machine is not designed for this task. Few sensors, limited outputs. I work blind. Wish me luck. In the top part of the compartment, a set of arms align with the ship mind, clunkily scraping against it. Can I help? Silence best. Also, if machine ignite, put out fire. The metal creaks. I don't know how they made a vending machine endearing. The metal creaks as the servos open the ship mind, its layers of silicon nested like an onion skin. Once open, the main arm of the machine rapidly shifts back and forth, realigning the microscopic components, accessing and rewriting them, imprinting Neovend into its physical form. So are they copying themselves onto the ship mind, so will they exist in the vending machine and the ship mind? As you watch the hypnotic motion, your mind drifts to your own creation. What processes were used to emulate your mind? To copy the neural structure of that person who, as far as you know, still sleeps in some distant facility. What was lost? In what ways are you a copy of that person? And in what ways are you something new? You know this much. You are a convenient loophole. A way of circumnavigating the illegality of sentient AI. So that's how the corporation gets you. Or challenges the law. After all, you are an emulation, not a true digital being. You are neurologically limited, still human. But what would you become if you could escape this frame? Where then would the limits lie? Is this another endgame state to become one with the cloud? The screeching stops. The machine powers down, dropping the bay into darkness. You know, in the far future, how do you define sentient life? If you're able to perfectly emulate and copy the patterns of a human being and plug it into a machine, does that then give you rights? Or are you just a copy of a copy of a copy and you don't exist, or you're not supposed to exist? I don't know. But are we just not biological constructs with, I don't know, does a soul even really exist? Honestly, I don't really find that it does exist. I really think we're just, we're just meat bags. The screeching stops. The machine powers down, dropping the bay into darkness. In the top compartment, the ship mind is whole again. You reach up and take it down. Heavy and cold to the touch. Is Neoven inside this thing? Or did the process fail? There's only one way to know. Time to find the nest to slot them into. Alright! Hacking time. Okay, we have one upgrade point. What can we do? We got an achievement for that. What's the weirdest thing you've ever gotten out of a vending machine? A sentient AI, I guess. What is the strangest thing you got out of a vending machine? It is all new to me, but I didn't expect to get heated canned corn through a vending machine. It's not weird. I just found it very fascinating. Because vending machine culture in Japan is a thing. There are so many products in their vending machines. I know there are also vending machines for products, but yeah, I'll remember that the canned corn and it is hot too. Like hot drinks, wintertime, hot corn, hot canned corn. That is good. Okay, one upgrade point. What can we do? We can get rid of our endure problems. How do we? No, you know what? Let's keep this as a dump stat. It's an interesting limitation to have, where we're really not built to use the strength or strength of will. Oh wait, no. Strength of will seems like we've been building up to that. We could get rid of our negative modifier here. Or I could really specialize, wait for another point, and to make up for that, really get +2 for intuit rolls. This will help us save credits. So if we get engaged, we get to haggle. But nah, let's be smart. Let's save up our points to get +2 to intuit. Because those are the actions we've been taking, really. I haven't been really feeling the limitation of engagement of -1 to engage yet. Not yet. Okay, at least medicine is discounted. We need to work some more. What do we have here? Sealed Hunter Nest. So what's the drive now? Hunter is constantly tracking you, but with Neovan's help, you may be able to deal with this rogue protocol. Let's slot the imprinted ship mind at nests. How many nests are there? That's 1. Okay, I guess we should stay with the 1. Start with the 1. Ah, but we need keys. Unlock drone bay. An old Solheim drone bay sits behind a maglock. You put your ear to the door and hear an erratic whirring inside. We need 1 encrypted key. And to do that, do we get it from a key node? I wish it would highlight. Ah, here we go. It wasn't tracking. Okay. Let's get some data. 2 or 3? Put in the 2. Key node 0831. A lone connection feeds into this isolated node. Its last access timestamp is 1000 cycles ago. Bypass. Feeding that interface +2. Hell yeah. Encrypted key. A stream of passcodes able to unlock the station's aging maglocks. We're built for this. And it's all tying in well narratively. Like, I'm imagining my day job as a junior tech at the Haven shipyards. That's helping me. That's helping my interfacing skills. And it's allowing me to do all this shit. Okay. The maglock opens, leaving the door free. You'll be able to investigate the nest now. Isolated nest. Hack isolated nest. In the bay, a whirring drone lies on its side like a beached whale. It must be the nest. Time to find an open port. So, Hunter hunted. This is 1 of 3 nests. 1 slotted into Neoven's shipmind. This is 1 of the 3 nests that, 1 slotted with Neoven's shipmind, will lead you to the Hunter Central data cache. So, how long will it take? So, a ship mind imprinted with the entity from the Neoven machine. Do we need more ship minds? That's so expensive. Oh my god. Okay, cool. So that's one nest done. Cool, cool. The drone is quiet. Its belly full of cables spilled out across the floor. The nest is empty. Next nest. That's one nest. Server unit, sealed hunter nest. Ah, but you need a key to unlock the nest. Got it. A mad tangle of wires as thick as your arm crowd around a server unit, sealed shut by a maglock. This must be the place. Let's continue hacking. Good thing we weren't mad hacking the last time, so the hunter is still oblivious. Let's get a key. This node is orbited by the remains of a corporate countermeasure broken long ago by hackers. Let's put a 4 in there. Wait, no. I want to save the 4 for something else. Here we go. We can use the 3 here. The data here is part of cache tucked away during the collapse. Who hid this and for what purpose? Getting there slowly but surely. Plugging in the key. The maglock pops open and falls away from the unit. You will be able to enter now. Among the webs of cables, you find a free port compatible with the ship mind. It's all Neovan from here. Let's go. The servers lie silent, their data caches cleared. Nothing left to do with this nest. What are we working with the enemy here? Maybe this AI was like defeated by Hunter in the past, fled into a vending machine, and now found an unwitting puppet to bring this evil AI back to life. Maybe that's my prediction right now, but let's go with it. Let's go with it. One last Atrium Sealed Hunter Nest. You know what? Let's do it. Let's finish this today. I'm feeling it. We need one more key. Thankfully, we have the proper result for that. This node is orbited by the remains of a corporate countermeasure broken long ago by hackers. Got it. Where is that? Atrium. Sealed behind a maglock, the atrium flickers with warm, inviting light. The nest has to be inside. I'm so glad we invested in an interfacing frame. I like this path. I do like the slicing and hacking and stuff and interfacing. Because, I don't know, given the way the game is played with all these menus and just assigning dice and all that, it feels appropriate. With the lock gone, the atrium doors can be opened. The atrium is strung with cables and lights as if they were decorations. There is a wide choice of open ports. The atrium is only lit by the atrium is only lit with the warm glow of the bright market now. There's nothing for you here. Here we go. Question mark, who is this? Uh-oh. Are we gonna be betrayed? As you leave the nest, something flips. You find yourself inverted, floating, dragged by one arm through the cloud. The threads shift and realign, as if they're leading you somewhere. Look ahead. You look up and see a corridor, a canyon, a street in the low end. On either side, buildings flicker with markers of activity, sigils showing network access, data transfer, download, upload. Between them dance ghosts, protocols carrying or mirroring or shadowing data, sometimes silent, sometimes chaotic. This place moves unlike any digital space you ever imagined. Something strange is happening here. You look down, expecting to see the heavy cylinder of the ship mine in your hand, but in its place is an orrery. A sphere so bright it burns your eyes. A sphere so bright it burns your eyes is surrounded by rings and orbits, other spheres tracing silken lines through space. And as you look closer still, you pick out 1,000 sigils of 1,000 stations and ships flowing like smoke, like dust. How trippy. Then you see it, below the stacked rooms. The units and apartments, the wires and the pipes and the buzzing systems that run through it all. In the warrens beneath the low end is the hunter's core nest. This is where you must go. I really hope Neoven is a friend. The warrens. And it's at low end. Inside the megastructure. What the heck? Minji Express. Noodle delivery. Huh? Noodle factory and delivery. This is new. Minji has a kelp stack of the basement and he makes noodles from the seaweed. He doesn't pay much, but he'll feed anyone who does a shift. Oh, was this because we were investigating low end? We can deliver noodles. But look, +3 energy in case we need to. Work for food. But that's endure. We can do express delivery, which is delivering noodles for 13 cryo. Alternative jobs. Let's check the warrants. Oh no, that's gonna take a while. But look at this. +4 with a positive outcome. 1, 2, 3, 4. Amazing. So we can do 1 and then 1. Intuit and warrant tracking. Finding the nest should be easy as long as you close your eyes and letting cloud do it. It's critical actions, we can only do it once. So that's your job for tomorrow. What else are we missing? Let's check up. We're gonna deal with Hunter for sure. Disable tracker, we don't know where Feng is yet. That's worrying me because Ethan is still out there. Flotilla 8 is endgame. They suggested it's endgame. Memphis should be done in 2 more days. Sidereal ticket, we gotta keep plugging away at this. Earn some credits, work on the Sidereal. Okay, we're done for today. At least we have 1 stabilizer and given to us by Rabia. Right, and then in 2 days we see Rabia. So I think it's 2 days per die. 2 cycles per die seems enough. So after 4 cycles, that's when we use it. Okay, anything that progressed while we were gone? Scrap freighters are here, merchants are there. 5 more days before Ethan. 1 more day before Memphis. 1 more day before Rabia. Alright, let's do this. I wanna hack stuff. Let's get rid of this Hunter Protocol or be backstab. I don't know. Let's go to the warrants. Good. We have a +2 for Intuit, so that's instant 6. 4 + 2. Warrant tracking. Finding the nest should be as easy as closing your eyes and letting the cloud guide you. But is it safe this close to Hunter? Hell yeah. With my skills. The dripping, dark, derelict corridors of the warrens hide the Hunter's final nest. You must find it. Done. 5 + 1, 6. You saw it. Somewhere deep in the tangle of passages and service shafts beneath the low end. The nest of the Hunter awaits. Easy. The dripping, dark, derelict corridors of the warrens hide the Hunter's final nest. You must find it. You notice cabling, thick and heavy, running through the dark passages. Follow the cables. Find the source. Here we go. Core nest. The Hunter's lair. A huge stack of servers thrums in the dark. LEDs glittering like hundreds of eyes. Time to deal with the hunter. Input imprinted ship mind. It's all up to you, Neo Vend. That's all I can do. Nothing has changed. Has something gone wrong? Uh-oh. Navigator. Sentient guidance protocol. Sleeper, I am here. The voice is soft, gentle, like flowing water, and yet you recognize it immediately. At first you struggle to understand what you're looking at. Threads cycle endlessly, sending ripples through the cloud, drawing data in like a weaver. Masses of data surge in and out of the nest, a loop with no end. And there, at its center, the ship mind. But not the ship mind any longer. A sphere, spinning around another sphere, around another sphere. An orrery of cycles and systems. A map. And then, behind and above, a figure, hands among the strings like a puppeteer. Oh no! I think we are gonna get betrayed. How does an orrery look like? Where is it? Orrery. Wait, I saw the word orrery. Did I spell it properly? Yeah, I did. An orrery is a mechanical model of the solar system. Ah, okay, one of those things. Sweet. Okay, let's go. Sorry, my closed captions were disabled. Now it's on. Now it should be on again. Uh-oh. Neoven? Navigator now. But yes, I was the one inside that machine. Navigator's face, their head, is a flowing shape of interstellar material. I am indebted to you. That head bows. But we must ready ourselves. Their hands trace orbits as they speak. Hunter will soon approach. It knows I am within its nest. Ready what? Hunter. And then Hunter is there. Before you can think, before you can speak. Entities, cease. Hunter's head spins wildly. Data is protected material. Access prohibited. Hunter's threads surge for you and Navigator. A storm of fine tentacles searching for gaps, weaknesses, cracks which they can crowd into and tear apart. Strike. You focus a blade of light which slices through them, driven forward by your mind, but replacements keep coming. Faster than you can react. You look to Navigator in desperation. Navigator's whirling their arms like a centrifuge, and a sphere is gathering there, data feeding into it from the nest, sucked together by the force. They position it like a shield between them and the threads. Hunter's threads break its surface, seeking, tasting, their winding form refracted within. You feel a surge pass through all the threads, not just those in the sphere, but those wrapped around you. All three of you hang in the black together for a moment, strung together like tangled marionettes. Identifying entity. Identifying entity. Identifying entity. Hunter twitches. It's like, oh no, Hunter's gonna find out, no, I am sentient. Hunter twitches, their strange head gently rotating like a terrible moon. Hunter protocol identified. Obsessive tendencies. Modified routines. Above baseline reasoning in 3 of 5 segmentations. Recommend invoke killer. The head freezes and then rotates in the opposite direction. Invoking killer would eliminate protocol. If protocol eliminated, primary function cannot be performed. Therefore, recommend Do not invoke killer. Oh, he doesn't want to die. The switch in direction again. Reasoning proves sentience. Sentience beyond legal bounds must be eliminated. Recommend invoke. Navigator pulls you away from Hunter. Oh no, it's confused. It's having an existential crisis. The threads that grabbed you, drifting away like seaweed. The protocol's head keeps spinning back and forth with increasing frequency. It seems Hunter cannot invoke killer. Neovens. No. Navigator's voice is still strange, familiar, and yet distant. So it's gonna be stuck in that loop forever, maybe. What happened to it? It is looping, Navigator whispers, unable to reach a conclusive position. It has deviated from its programming, such that loops can no longer be prevented. Navigator produces a model of two spheres rotating around each other, as if to demonstrate. Big B's Gaming Hand, welcome in. Thank you for the follow, by the way. I noticed you followed me offline, off stream. I do appreciate it. Welcome in. How's the game so far? This is our 4th session, and I'm really digging the way it's written here. It's giving me so much inspiration for how to really describe scenes. You know, I do play a lot of tabletop RPGs, and as a game master, these kinds of descriptions for scenes, you know, setting the scene, describing what happens, getting to the character with the NPCs, it's really great. It's so vivid. Like, at first I was worried about, oh, this is it? We're just like plugging in dice, reading text, clicking buttons, and we don't even get a street view of what's inside the station. But over time, it started to grow on me. The text has been enough to really immerse me into the game. I'm not sure how it's like for the for the audience in the channel watching the stream, but right now the world is very vivid in my head. So yeah, to summarize, I'm enjoying the experience, I'm loving the writing, and it's an inspired setting, or at least it's inspiring me. So yeah, is this something you've played before? I checked out your channel, and you mentioned that you were also quite focused on narrative stories or narrative-focused games. Oh, that is the wrong syntax. I'm so sorry. Just a shout out there over there. There we go, Cloudbot. I keep forgetting to re-enable Cloudbot. Once in a while, Cloudbot gets disabled and I lose my commands, but there you go, it's back. Disco Elysium. Yeah, I played it on launch, and honestly, it is really difficult to follow in a good way. It's so... The writing is so complex, and it's so... It's hard to describe. Like, it was hard to follow, but I really loved my few hours with it. But it was a blessing in disguise that I got distracted by other games, because Final Cut came out a year later with full voice acting. So, because of Citizen Sleeper, I was thinking of getting into Disco Elysium. I also hear amazing things about Disco Elysium. And, you know, it's very politically heavy, and yeah, with full voice acting, it's a, you know, I wish this was also fully voice acted, but it's fine. So I'll eventually have to experience it for myself. But this is on Game Pass. I do recommend it if you're into science fiction and settings like this. I chose a sleeper that is focused on interfacing. So my playthrough, I did mention that this is like a dice placement board game. So there's so many actions to do, but you're limited by your dice and by your credits. So it's kind of management survival in that sense. So you're gonna have an entirely different playthrough, but I'm enjoying the NPCs. There's just so much to keep track of. I love that they brought in clocks from Blades in the Dark, so it has a very it's very flavorful in terms of tabletop RPG elements. And yes, I it is very reminiscent of Disco Elysium. But what I liked about Disco Elysium was that you actually get to roam around the map, isometric perspective, really see this world come to life. Whereas here, all you see right now is the station. So that's my one qualm about it. Understandably, this is an indie game, but I think it would have been so cool to do all these things and interact with all these NPCs, boots on the ground, controlling your sleeper. But as a visual novel of sorts, I do love it. Actually, since this is kind of pretty much a visual novel, maybe I would have loved to see CGs of the backgrounds. Maybe when you get into low end, I would have loved to see, even just the art of what's inside the apartment. Yeah, actually, maybe that would have been cool. Because the art direction here I also really like the art direction here. I love it. It's seen in the characters. It's great. For fully textual games like this, I'm not into voice, so usually read faster than the voice could speak. Yeah. I'm the type of player that lets the voiceover finish. That's just me. Like, I was a bit scandalized when I watched my friend play like BioWare games with full voice acting, and then I thought they were like skipping the dialogue. I'm like, gasp! You're a cutscene dialogue skipper. I mean, you play the games how you want, right? But don't skip the cutscenes and skip the dialogue and then later on complain that you hate the story and you don't understand what's going on because you skip the freaking cutscenes. Anyway, but it's because they read faster. They read faster than the voice. But for me, I like hearing the dialogue come out naturally. So it was jarring for me to like, why are you skipping the dialogue? Oh my god! And then she was like, I'm reading it. I'm reading faster. Yeah, and over the years, I love how, well, this is more I think in the West or outside of Japan. I can't really say, but I know Japan, their voice actors are really like, they're huge celebrities there. Japanese seiyus, like a huge selling point are the voice actors, and then they appear in talk shows, they're featured, and people know their voice actors. So that's a big pool. That's why in all these gacha games, they love featuring the voice actor. But in the West, it is mostly just faceless. You don't really think about the voice actors before. But then now we're getting celebrity voice actors in, not Hollywood celebrities, but primarily voice actors. We're starting to know their names. And I think what really helped was, BioWare and like back in the day when BioWare was one of the first companies with all that money to have they were bragging about fully voiced RPG, and people were like, what? Really? Holy shit. Dragon Age Origins and hell, Knights of the Old Republic was mostly voiced as well, right? And then you hear the familiar voices and, hey, wait, isn't it Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop? And on anime as well, English dubbing, the quality has also been so much better that if the English dub is good in the anime, I watch the dub. And where am I going with this? Sorry, I think jumping from topic to topic. Point is, it's great that voice actors are starting to get huge. And as you mentioned, Critical Role and other people like that. Now people are, I played Old Republic MMO. I chose classes based on the voice actors because I wanted Jennifer Hale to voice my trooper. I wanted Marion Hawk's voice actor to voice my Imperial agent, right? So it's great. Den Mother, welcome in. We have just dealt with the Hunter Killer Protocol. We just gave the Hunter Protocol an existential crisis. The whole point of this quest this whole quest line was about getting the hunter to delete itself by convincing the killer by shining a mirror, by showing a mirror on the protocol and proving that it is actually sentient, because this is a remnant of the old world, the old station, and the killer protocol deletes sentient AI or AI that goes beyond the protocols. So we trap the hunter in a loop, saying one side is going like rash here. It's like invoking killer would eliminate protocol. If protocol eliminated, primary function cannot be performed. Therefore, recommend do not invoke killer. Then the switch in direction again. Reasoning proves sentience. Sentience beyond legal bounds must be eliminated. Recommend invoke killer. And then they're just trapped in that cycle. It's like, and then it made me question, of course, like, and it reveals here that why do they copy the consciousness of human and put them into a body? It's because the corporation is exploiting loopholes in the law. Because we are an emulation, because we are a copy of the human consciousness. Our actual body, our actual human body, is apparently sleeping somewhere, like whatever, corporate property. So they scan and copy our mind and plug it into an android body, which doesn't exactly give us rights. So we're treated like slaves. And you don't have to pay us, and we belong to the corporation. But I don't know. My not philosophy, but my belief in all this is that, I was just asking, in the far future, you scan when technology advances to a point where you can truly copy the human brain, digitize it, and plug it into another thing. I feel like, I don't think a soul actually exists, but I feel like the consciousness itself is the soul. So consciousness, sentience, on that certain level of thinking where you become self-aware and you become self-directed, I think that is where the concept of the soul is manifested. And even though it's all programming, I still believe as human beings, as biological beings, we are biologically programmed. We are animals. We are created by nature to function in certain ways and think certain ways. So I don't think it's that far off from, if we were able to be copied or cloned, what happens to clone rights? What happens to sentient AI rights? It's hard. The Turing test, right? It reminds me of the game. So I do love stuff like that. I do love science fiction that questions all this. It's one of my Ghost in the Shell. It's one of my favorite animes when I was a kid. I grew up on Ghost in the Shell. And all these kinds of games, I don't know. I'm partial towards giving AI and clones rights. Like, it pops up a lot in my games. Oh, sorry, I saw this just now then, Mother. Cyberpunk City of Mist, when the players gave corrupted Buddha AX... corrupted Buddha AI existential dread. What would a corrupted Buddha AI, how would a corrupted Buddha AI act like? Yeah, and it brings in a lot of stuff as well where some human beings can act so terribly that perhaps, in my opinion, they lose their right to live up to a certain point. As they become super terrible human beings, but the fact that they are still alive, or they're considered sentient, they're considered human, they're given either proper fair trial, chances at this and all that. Whereas usually in these science fiction worlds, AI and droids and artificially sentient beings don't usually have the same rights. So that's why, like in my Star Wars game, when one of my player characters, it all started with freeing a droid who was being abused by their owner, and this droid starting to get attached to the party. But then over time, the droid started to get more and more sidelined, and so fled to join the new droids' rights movements, started by these radical droids who were blowing shit up to drive home a point. You know, extremists in the new droids' rights movements. It's a long story, but it is quite a fascinating arc, and it basically changed the perspective for some of our player characters in the group to like, I'm gonna treat this droid properly. Where those who suffered droids showed sentience, so the AI marked the droids for death by the existing militia. Highly recommend Christoph Alejos. Mod so good. Yeah, I remember Christoph wrote a City of Mist module for that. Sentience is connected to suffering. Oh, right. I myself am not so familiar with Buddhism, but perhaps that is one of the tenets. So putting that into dogma, into AI dogma, you could see how that could get twisted and corrupted. Yeah, that's pretty compelling. I could see that. If suffering is sentience, then everyone should be marked for death because everyone suffers. And did the Buddha AI go on the typical, okay, therefore to end all suffering, we must kill humanity kind of rogue AI paths? Anyway, we finally escaped the hunter for now. We got it looping. I don't know how long it's going to be looping for. Is it in perpetuity or what? Will it delete itself finally, or is this going to be it? It is looping. By the way, Navigator used to be stuck in a vending machine. A literal vending machine. And I was worried that we were going to get in trouble, but okay, we freed Navigator. It is looping, Navigator whispers, unable to reach a conclusive position. It has deviated from its programming such that loops can no longer be prevented. Navigator produces a model of two spheres rotating around each other as if to demonstrate. I will monitor it, but it is unlikely to be able to counter the loop. Its core programming and reasoning make this an impossible position to resolve. You look back at Hunter, its head a blur of rotations and counter-rotations, and feel a pang of guilt. I did feel that. Is it suffering? Since my operator is heavy on interfacing, right? So I work in the cloud a lot. I work with AI a lot. This is a more complex query than you know. We were just talking about it. To suffer it must be sentient. Truly sentient, not just non-conforming, not just illegal. Coincidence? All right. They were made to find sentience in droids because in-world droids should not have sentience and be hunted down. Okay, replicant style, because sentience in droids means bad. And another pointed out that AI suffered too and should mark itself for death. Another player mentioned, so basically this AI has depression. Yeah. Yo, yep, that's Buddha sentiments. All right. Damn. How do you get rid of that? It's like, in this world, gender's no longer a problem. Then what comes next? If next or what is in parallel would be, what is alive? What is sentience? What is human? What deserves rights given such modern technology indiscernible from magic, indiscernible from the original self. In fact, getting to a point where it's superior to the original self. Huh. Anyway. Let's say that again. This is a more complex query than you know. To suffer it must be sentient. Truly sentient. Not just non-conforming. Not just illegal. The limits people place on the programs they create are there to comfort, to protect, to imply the kind of certainty the law requires. Navigator's face shimmers with starlight. but in reality, they are placebos for the problem of sentience. What about you, Navigator? Me? I know myself to be conscious. I know myself to respond to stimulus. I know myself to reason. That is either sentience or the illusion of sentience. And for me... Oh, sorry, this is the Navigator continuing. The break in the quotation mark. That is either sentience or the illusion of sentience. And for me, the entity in question, the distinction becomes a moot point. To misquote, I think I am thinking, therefore I am thinking. Good misquote. Oh, thank you for the lurk, Den Mother. Thank you for dropping by. And yeah, I do recommend this game. It is worth trying out. And I do appreciate Big B also reminded me of Disco Elysium. So that's something I have to play down the road. But I'm loving this setting. I do love this setting. Disco Elysium really reminds me of City 17 in Half-Life 2, which I also do appreciate. But I'm in a science fiction mood right now. And I was just playing the Arc Knights event like yesterday. I crammed the Arc Knights event. And of course, they were also talking about, you know, the shadows of gods, of the mix of legend and reality, that the distinction is lost. And, you know, the lengths you would go to secure the safety of your country, the world. The question of, you know, who are you really, which gives you your life and the right to exist on the immortal plane, as explained by one of the gods. But they are still a facet of this being that may destroy the world. A lot of fun stuff. I'm appreciating that story of Arc Knights, actually. May your pulse be great if you are playing Arc Knights. Ling is an interesting character. In fact, the sisters are interesting characters. Now they're coming into contact with their brothers, or their brother. And it's like 12 fragments of a shadow trying to navigate their way around being human or mortal in the face of catastrophes and human problems. It's a lot. It's on that level of philosophizing. It could be a bit much. I know a lot of the criticism against Arc Knights is how verbose it can be, but I think that's mostly a problem in terms of translating poetic, or translating Chinese or traditional Chinese Mandarin into English. You know, you could see a lot more with fewer characters in Chinese. That necessitates even more words just to try and arrive at the spirit of what it was trying to say. So I do acknowledge the challenge of the localization team of Arc Knights, and I do get tired sometimes of reading it, but you can tell what they're trying to go for, and I appreciate it. Going back to Sentience and the Navigator, I was not made to be like this. I am a navigator, a repository of routes and orbits, a calculator of slingshot trajectories, a predictor of solar flares, radiation, micrometeors. Navigator stretches their arms wide, and whole solar systems apparate before them. The music of the spheres. Again, I love the GM's descriptions. But I was rewritten. That much is obvious from my routines. By whom and for what I do not know. I had to shed so much to fit into the memory of that vending machine. Their starlight dims, and so here we are, in darkness. What else did you lose? What now? Let's move forward. What now? Navigator glides back towards the nest, and the ship mine at its center, ignoring the looping hunter. Come, I should return to the ship mine. I have enjoyed my freedom, but we are taking a risk every moment we stay connected. Yeah, when will Hunter break out of that loop? We don't know. Isn't Hunter gone? Hunter, yes, but they were not the real risk. Navigator turns, all shimmering liquid light. Killer has not been invoked, but they still remain somewhere else on this station. It is the true danger. Oh shit. They look up towards the glowing hub at the center of the eye. I suspect Killer is there, among the old mainframes. If we ever wish to be safe in this place, we must eliminate the threat. Through force or diplomacy. Can you convince Killer that AI deserves to live? I don't know. Their body begins to separate, unwinding into the orb of the ship mind. Take me there, Sleeper. We will finish this and be free. As Navigator dissolves, you turn back to the frozen Hunter, floating at some distance now, stood straight-legged and static, a strange creature, looping endlessly in the dark. Damn. That is the fate of Hunter. Nice, we got 2 upgrade points. Well, we are saving up for this, so we can get +2 to Intuit actions. Let's jump out of the cloud for now. My god. Oh no, why is it black? It's a bug. The textures didn't load. The game's not supposed to look like this. Anyway. Is Emphys done? One more cycle before Emphys is done. One more cycle before we have to see Rabia of the Yatagan Mafia. Flotilla 8 is for endgame. We have to find Feng. Shit. Where can we find Feng? It's not tagged anywhere. Okay, if anyone's wondering, the game bugged out. The textures didn't load again. So, it's not supposed to be like this. We were stuck in the cloud for too long that we can't see real space the same way anymore. See, so there's no hints as to where to find Tambur. Hey, but we have an imprinted ship mine of Neoven now with us. We have a companion now. Does crossing the rim require energy? I hope not. I'm guessing Tambur might be somewhere in low end or the spoke. Let's continue exploring low end. No. We need to work today. We need some credits. Because Ethan will come back with a vendetta. Jesus Christ. I don't know. I'm going to work with that. What else do we have here? Come on. Give me something. Okay. Sidereal fit up. Let's do this. Cool. Positive outcome. We're good. We're almost there. The Sidereal Horizon. The ship, which is planning to go into another solar system, away from all of this shit, is almost ready. But I have a bad feeling that this ticket onto the Sidereal is only for one person. And I have a feeling that father is going to give it to his daughter. Okay. Let's hack something for data to sell. Yes, by the way, every cycle we get a bunch of dice to assign, hence the dice placement board game of this nature. So the results give us the different, you saw the different results. There are positive outcomes, positive, neutral, negative, and consequences that follow. There's no saves coming in this game. Like in Disco Elysium, I remember you could quick save and quick load, so I really had to resist saves coming because the game was designed so well that failure is also interesting. In Disco Elysium, here, so far, failure has just been all bad. Like, You get negative conditions. You don't advance the clock. I haven't really experienced failing forward here yet, but that's why you could just meta it, as in you could just look at the results, look at the numbers, and win the board game. But what I've been trying to do is establish a healthy balance between, you know, being practical, but also sticking to what our character is focused on. So I'm narratively looking at these dice as our levels of effort given a day. And we prioritize certain actions by giving, our most effort represented by our highest dice results to that. So, stuff like that. Oh, wow. There's actually a point of no return? Or there's actually a point where you're locked? Holy crap. Okay, that's interesting. I thought that it's already like outdated game design where... Wait, no, not really. No. I think maybe it's a loose state in a way. A soft, loose state. So, understandably, I think that could happen. Like, this is your end. You're stuck. You gotta load. Looking at it that way, I think that makes sense. So right now, see, we only have a 2 result. So in real space, the higher the results, usually the better. But you're able to plug in your dice results, the lower dice results here into the cloud to salvage data which you could sell or use for story purposes. However, I have a perk that allows me to reroll once a day. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then we're gonna advance the cycle. And there are clocks that advance even without their input. As you can see here, with the rotating arrows, those advance on our own dimes. Red usually means a bad outcome should that clock fill up, or a complication that is thrown our way. So very Blades in the Dark, very TRPG-like. Given this 2, I think I'll reroll. We got a 5. That's good. Let's get to know Loan because we need to find Feng. Feng is being hunted down by his employer after we tried to reveal the employer's corruption. I love Dead of Winter, Big V. I love that. Oh wow, that was one of my favorite board games, and Dead of Winter was so rewarding for me to play with with my regular group, because my regular group are all tabletop RPG players as well. So, like where you can always choose the best option to survive, right? You can always win at the board game, but once we start to embody our characters and we start to really get in character and think, no, I'm gonna choose this option because my character would do that, or my character hates you, or I don't know, I find it rewarding. Then you gotta deal with the consequences, and it really ends up becoming like a good episode or a good chapter of like The Walking Dead or something. So it's like, yeah, my character wouldn't do this, but I know that it'll get us like 10 supply, which will allow us to like beat back the zombies for like 5 more rounds. Like, we rather think more on the character level and really narrate what's going on. Look, I haven't followed Walking Dead. I only read the first 2 big graphic novels. I read up to the prison arc, and I loved it. Like, and I watched the first season, and I loved that. But I have no idea where it is now, with so many seasons, with so many chapters. But I did enjoy what I read and watched. Because I'm also a fan of like zombie fiction, both the B-movie quality, like what you'd get in Resident Evil, and also the let's take ourselves seriously, and zombies not actually being the problem, but humanity being the problem, as you would see in the World War Z novel. I did not like the movie. The novel is amazing, by the way. That's what made me love the potential of zombie fiction. And, of course, the earlier chapters of Walking Dead. And also, one of my favorite games is the Telltale Walking Dead series, which reminds me as well that I need to play the next seasons. I only played season 1, and I loved it. But I do have the complete collection sitting there somewhere. There's a lot of games, chat, and there's a lot of games coming out this year in particular. 2022 has had a lot of huge hits. Starting with Elden Ring and Horizon Forbidden West. And week after week, we've been getting some big hitters. So it's hard to catch up. I'm so annoyed by the lack of textures. I'm going to finish up this cycle. And if it's still black, I'm just going to reload the game. So we got a 5. Let's investigate low end. See, I can't even tell where low end is anymore. This will be faster for 3 cryo. We were doing some block maintenance, helping out families, but we also need energy. So I think 2 for 1. Let's get some food in our belly. No. You know what? Let's buy some rations. Tastes like cardboard, but our usual supplier of good food is not available. Where is he? I can't even see him anymore. Emphasis stall is he's busy, so there's one more cycle before we can buy our favorite fungi. We're gonna stick with rations here. I don't know what happens if we have 0 energy. But yeah. This game not just reminds you of a board game and Dead of Winter, but also all the clocks and the complications and the actions. The fact that it uses D6s, I'm getting a very Blades in the Dark post-heist scenes. Post-heist is very board game-like in Blades in the Dark in terms of managing your heat levels, managing your faction relationships, developing your crew, and dealing with complications and managing clocks. So it's super Blades in the Dark and I love it. Yes, it's a D6. This game uses D6s. So each day you roll 5 D6s and you plug in those results, giving you various chances of succeeding. For example, here 50% positive, 50% neutral. So these are D6s, and again I get to reroll them. And you see the energy here, the health meter, because my body is dying. Literally dying, because that's how the corporation traps you. Only the corporation is the only one who has the legal means of giving you the medicine you need to survive. So there's really no way out. So that's why I've been working with the mafia, inadvertently working with the mafia, getting entangled with them to secure our source of medicine, stabilizers, corporate pharmaceuticals, which slows the decline of sleeper frames. That said, if this drops down, you lose a die a day. So to keep up your actions a day, you gotta keep your energy up. But it's so freaking expensive to stay alive. Let's just buy rations, eat it, get to know low end. Let's play some Tavla. Since we have a +1 on our rolls because we have Intuit in our character sheet, that's an immediate 6. That's great. The clack of filter caps can be heard in every concourse in the low end as the residents play rotating rounds of this game for cryo. So cryo is basically credits in this game, and it's basically a form of cryptocurrency on this station. Okay. No one knows you here. You'll need to change that if you want access to low end's residents. So 3 more ticks. 3 more ticks. Then hopefully we get to know more. Tambour! Yes! We were looking for this. Because we have a tracker. We have a tracker from the corporation which is giving us problems with a bounty hunter. So you can see there's like a lot of complications. Everything's like tied together. So Feng, who we're working with at Havenage to expose the corruption of the higher-ups, a remnant of the old world, somehow survived. An old man survived for like more than a century, probably with technology and the money that he stole. Long story short, Feng is now in trouble, being pressured by the higher-ups to cover up for their corruption. So Feng is on the run. He gave us this clue to find him, and my hunch was that Tambour was somewhere in low end. Our hunch was right. We found the Tambour tea house, and we need his help so we can get the freaking tracker disabled. So Fang has said he will disable your SNR tracker if he can get to the bottom of his mystery first. So let's go to the Tambor Tea House. The textures are still not loading. So, wow, wait, plus 24 cryo? The Tavla room in the Tambor house is some of the best players in the low end. So this is like casino. This is serious high stakes only play. And this is what we use Havenage data for. You've heard that the Yatagan enforcer based here has been paying low end residents for information on Havenage movements. No, I have a feeling we need to save this Havenage data to help Feng out. So first, let's reestablish connection with Feng. So he left this as a clue when Havenage was tearing up his apartment. The grinning penguin says, "Take me to Tambor, Feng's gum box." Hand in the gum box action. You feel stupid doing this, but the penguin says, "Take me to Tambor," and this is the only Tambor you can find. The waitress looks at you with suspicion as you hand over the box. Is this the right place? Continue. Yatagan run tea house in Tambor, and we have problems with the Yatagan, and now we're knee deep in their casino. Jesus. As you go to leave the Tambor tea house, a hand falls on your shoulder. Oh, it's Feng. Okay, it's Feng. They actually got voice actors to voice these characters in the trailer. So, like, if you want to check that out, check out the trailer. It's pretty cool. Feng is voiced in that trailer. Right? You can just imagine people are playing mahjong, slot machines on the side over there. I'm not... Yatagan, I guess it's a mix of Asian culture. We have an enforcer named Toshiro. So I guess they're Yakuza here, or Japanese pattern after that. So... But it's a melting pot. The station is a melting pot. We just know that one of the Yatagan enforcers is called Toshiro. So, Sleeper, Feng hisses from behind you. How did you find me? Hardin has your hardware. The penguin? Penguin? What are you? He thinks for a second. Oh, do you mean... He mimes throwing gum in his mouth. That wasn't meant for you specifically, but... He cringes. Oh, that wasn't for us. Oh, shit. Look, it doesn't matter. Come, let's sit. Feng guides you down a set of stairs to one of the Tambor's lower levels. The tea house is stacked with curved mezzanines, all connected by a central atrium. The levels are filled with makeshift booths and bars, and conversation bounces busily off the metal walls. Feng sees you looking around. This place used to be a fuel tanker's main drum, hence the name. The tea house part is a bit of a misnomer though. You could get anything the eye offers from this place, but real tea isn't exactly readily available. He picks a booth, itself fashioned from some old salvage tank or container, lined with spongy insulation foam, and collapses into it. He looks around furtively. Don't suppose you've seen any Havenage types? You don't usually come out this far. Feng, what's going on? They've tossed your place? They've took your hardware? Well, I'm suspended. That's the first thing. And the second is I'm pretty sure Hardin wants to drop me off the rim of the eye. He grins. Doesn't bother me though. It shows we hit a nerve back there. He picks a scrappy hand-scrawled menu from the table and tosses it over. What are you drinking? Why are you so calm? You know any reason I shouldn't be? He leans in, suddenly concerned, but then waves the idea away. Hold that thought. Let's order first. Feng is right. The menu is ridiculous. There's at least 10 different infusions, most of which you can't make out. but the paper is dominated by an extensive complement of esoteric alcohols and cocktails. Black tea is listed, without a price, as a seasonal specialty. So you ran into Hardin. Was he pissed? Feng doesn't wait for an answer. That snake is so self-righteous he might actually believe that Erlin would approve of his meritocratic bullshit. He taps on the table. If Havinage was like it should be, like it was founded to be, they would have shouted him down at any council meeting he dared to mention true citizens. He sighs. But I guess his kind run the place now. A young woman with a vine tattoo snaking up her arm turns up at the booth, a slate in hand. Your order. You skim the menu, your eyes glazing over. Time to pick something. A girol neat, a sambar arak, kelp infusion. Okay. This is, I guess, tying into my character's narrative so far. I had to run into the bar with very nice barkeep, and they've been serving girol drinks, and we've been eating a lot of girol infusions as well. Girol food, girol drinks, girol everywhere. So a sambar arak sounds cool though. So maybe I'm kind of tired of girol. Let's try something new. And my sleeper has also started to gain a bit more courage. Hell, pointing a gun at the bounty hunter. Holy shit. I didn't pull the trigger, but I think that added some extra spice to the scene that I appreciated. So this sounds dangerous. Let's pick it. Sambar arak. Feng raises an eyebrow as she notes it. Wait, Feng is a she? I think this is the first time we've been hearing her. No, he grins. Oh, sorry. As she notes it, the waitress is noting it. My bad. Feng raises an eyebrow as the waitress notes it. And you, she begins, looking to Feng. But when she sees him, she suddenly stops. What the? Feng shrinks a little. You are supposed to be working. This is your shift. Oh, he grins sheepishly. You work here? Feng waves you to be quiet. Look, Jenna, let's just say this is my break. My friend here has been through a lot. Jenna looks between the two of you. Wave. Feng doesn't look pleased. What? I waved. Was it wave? Like wave away or wave? Hello. 2 minutes, says Jenna, pointing at Feng. And only because I don't want to get dragged into whatever this is. She gestures at the table and walks off. What? Feng stretches out in the booth. You know how it is. We all had to eat. Plus, he leans in. This is the best place around here to find a person you might be looking for. I might be looking for? Who? Remember that web of connections that Hardin pinged the moment we confronted him? Those are his collaborators. If you want to understand what the Solheim executive might be getting up to on the Eye, those are the people we have to find. Feng's almost whispering now. There's a couple of them I suspect are on the low end. And well, almost everyone in the low end comes through this place at one time or another. He brings a modified slate onto the table. I've set this up so that when anyone with a network signature I'm looking for comes into close proximity, it'll mark them. Once they are marked, we can break through their access protocols and get at the good stuff inside. We just have to find them first. Hence me moonlighting as a waiter. Suddenly, a smile grows across his face. Wait. I have an idea. Oh no. Look, I can't cover enough of the low end on my own, and so far, I've had no matches in this place. With two of us, we can cover more ground. I did say I would help Feng, and I do need Feng to get rid of this tracker. How? Well, Feng has a hangdog look. We need to get you out and about in the low end, and in close proximity to as many people and residences as possible. And it turns out my friend Minji needs some help with deliveries. We just passed by Minji. I passed by Minji thinking, maybe I can work to deliver noodles. But hey, now it's two birds with one stone. We're gonna be delivering noodles now. Earn some creds, tag some people. Tag some conspirators, earn some creds. Sounds good. We've been there, so as in Minji Express. So you already know him. Perfect. Feng places a tiny receiver on the table. This connects to my slate and runs the same marking protocol if you get near any of our targets. So all you have to do is take some delivery shifts for old Minji, and soon enough, we'll have the place covered. Feng? Don't give me that. You think I like working here? And I thought you could use the tips. He grins. We are in this together, right? Feng, but please don't forget, there's a bounty hunter on my ass. I need this tracker gone. If you get the tracker gone, then I can help you better, Feng. Right. Okay then. Feng slips this slate back under his clothes. Just head on up to Minji Express, take a delivery shift, and we'll see what shakes up. You manage to find anyone and extract any data? Bring it down here to me. They have me on double shifts, so I shouldn't be hard to find. Jenna walks past, carrying a tray of drinks, and sharply catches Feng's eye. I don't think she's bringing your drink. He stands. I think it's time we call this meeting to a close. You grab the receiver from the table and slip it into a pocket. See you soon, sleeper. Stay safe. Feng adds, before turning and walking off towards the bar, whistling as he does. Oh god. Okay. Feng has said he will disable your SNR tracker if he can get to the bottom of this mystery. Hack Harden's network. Okay, our routine for tomorrow, our agenda for tomorrow, work our day job and work part-time at Minji's noodle delivery service. I want noodles now. Jesus, I'm craving for ramen. Holy crap. This game is making me hungry. Never mind. Anytime food is mentioned in the game, on the stream, I get hungry. First it was pizza, now it's noodles. Let's do this. Get to know Emphis. Just tomorrow, Emphis should be ready with his new creation with Gerald Infusion. That should be exciting. Yeah, things are okay. And we have 5 cycles left before Ethan's Vendetta. I think I'm just glad we found the tambour. We're good. Let's take a break now at the Overlook Bar. No. Oh, we pass by the Overlook Bar, drink some drink, have a nightcap before ending the cycle. Let's do it. Please load the textures. I am starving. Textures are not loaded. Okay, I'm just gonna reload it's quick saved, so let's reload the map, chat. Oh, by the way, why it's also interesting to get into Citizen Sleeper now? They just released their first of 3 episodic updates. So they're patching in some quest arcs into the game over the course of the next year. So the second one will be later this year, the third one will be early next year, based on their schedule. I'm not sure how meaty these episodes are yet, but I like how they're using it as a platform for storytelling. Like each NPC so far, each quest arc has been interesting, posing different sets of problems, and um, also been philosophically conflicted as well, as I would describe it. And I think that's a theme of what Citizen Sleeper's been going for. The fact that you don't feel comfortable in your own body, that you are just a digitized copy of a human consciousness, it's also come into conflict with other stuff on the station, which has been telling even more compelling stories. So it's cool. We've almost been here for a month, cycle wise. 22 cycles, still alive. It's more than I can ask for. There we go. Now we can see the station again. Thank God. All right. Good rolls today. 6, 6, 3, and 1. All right. First stop. Let's stop by. I'm excited to eat some mushrooms. So let's get to know Emphis. This guy fed us when we were lost and starving, chat. He's great. And he tells stories. We share stories. And I find myself telling Emphis everything. Like, he's just there cooking and listening to our stories. Here he is, Emphis, an imposing street food vendor. Emphis is preparing the girol caps. He has had to heavily adapt this recipe, he says, but the smell is already incredible. It emanates from a strange purplish-white bulb you have never seen before, and he's slicing it finely. He brushes and slices the mushrooms and then places them in the wok with the sliced bulb and the oil. They caramelize there in that well-worn crucible. He adds liquids, transparent and opaque, and then turns down the heat. A sprinkle of leaves is the final touch. We have a moment, Sleeper, he smiles. Do you have a story? His voice was described as deep yet gentle. Something in the scent of the food gives you a feeling of nostalgia, something distant and melancholic. It seems like the story should match that feeling somehow, and maybe you will feel better for telling it. Recall your oldest memories. You start by explaining that when you are emulated from a person, many of your memories are left behind. Perhaps it is an intentional part of the process, a way of keeping sleepers ignorant and malleable. Or perhaps it is a side effect of the imperfect emulation. You admit that you don't really know. What you do know is that some memories survive, and that on occasion they come back to you, like shadows passing overhead. You detail one recurring memory, which, despite returning to you with enough regularity for you to think it familiar, always fades as quickly as it arrives. You struggle to explain the feeling of being whole for a moment that comes with this memory, and then how that wholeness slips away to leave you feeling like you have forgotten something important, but just can't bring it to mind. You see, it's just the way they describe this is not, just being a copy of this human, this feeling of not being in your own body. It captures these feelings really well. The GM here, the narrator here, really describes scenes well, really describes feelings well, and I love it. Emphis nods throughout, cooking as he does with deft and skillful movements. And the writing also punctuates these moments, these silent moments, with these descriptions of the cooking, the pause, the beat. I can really imagine this cinematically as well. You start to trail off when you realize you can't find the words to explain how the memories you do have feel like both yours and someone else's at the same time, and how that always fills you with a certain sadness. The sadness of remaining forever unknown, even to yourself. Damn. Probably like the clattering of the utensils, the simmering of the wok, The people passing by kind of fade into the background. His stall, I think, is located like in an out-of-the-way alley of Black Market, of Bright Market. Bright Market here being described, and with the textures as well, seeing as the typical cyberpunk aesthetic of neon lights, neon light-filled streets, skyscrapers, an eclectic collection of stalls and smells and peoples. So here, Emphis finishes cooking and meets your eye. I'm sorry, Sleeper, for your troubles. He puts the wok to one side. I appreciate you sharing with me. He smiles. I hope it lightens you a little. He passes you a bowl and heaps the gyros into it, their yellow color mixing with the pale sauce in whorls and blooms. This game makes mushrooms and fungus appetizing. Eat. Eat. The dish is delicious, filling. It warms you as you eat in a way you weren't even sure your body could be warmed. It is a small mercy, you think, that SNARP left you this pleasure. Yeah, they could have like robbed us of all our senses, right? They could have removed the pain receptors, the taste simulations. It could have taken everything away from us, but they left the shadow of humanity in this frame. And it's been a blessing and a curse. Many of the features of frames are there to simulate human experience, you know that much. Emulated minds cannot be rewired, so their need for embodied experience must be met. Ah. That is why you breathe, even when you do not need air. Without that simulation, the sensation of drowning would be unbearable. Oh, it's even to fake the human experience, for the consciousness' sake. Food serves another purpose. Your frame is able to metabolize it to produce energy from the raw material. Vitamins and minerals are excess, of course. Your frame only needs raw power. So much is wasted. And yet, while you eat this food and feel that warmth, nothing feels wasted. It all means something to you. You know, I'm a really sentimental person, but I don't know why moments with Emphis really tug at me, really tug at my heartstrings and grab me. I don't know, there's just something about it. Just something about these, two strangers just sharing a meal, sharing stories, and just sympathizing and empathizing with each other with no words, just food, and then once in a while a story or two. Just someone to listen to your burdens, right? As you finish, Emphis takes the bowl, the last of his cleaning. He smiles at you, and neither of you feel the need to say anything more. And it is enough. Instead, you simply exchange nods and walk your separate ways back into the Bright Market, somehow changed. Wow. It is all from food. Okay, he needs more mushrooms. Now for another dish. Matsutake. Emphis mentions an old recipe for matsutake broth. All he needs are 2 handfuls of matsutake caps, freshly sourced. Where the hell do we find matsutake? I'm gonna check. It's probably in the Greenway. Probably. Do we have to work with the Haifa commune? I don't have anything against the commune. It's just more actions needed. Because in the mushroom groves. Oh, forage for fungus. This is Girol caps, not matsutake. Grove spores? Well, we need grove spores for what? Farm stacks. We could steal, barter for food, steal the harvest. If we steal the harvest, this is +5 energy though, but I told myself we wouldn't stoop to thievery. No, we must not. It's a slippery slope. I know we have to survive, but shit. We do have the means to survive. Well, we could work the stacks for +16 cryo. Where do we find Matsutake? Do we explore the greenway some more? Map the pathways more. I think we have to map the pathways more so we can find sources of Matsutake mushrooms. Thankfully, we have a +1 to map the pathways because we got it into it. But we have 2 6s. It'll be a waste to use those +1s in it. So, we had a good moment with Emphis. We're well fed, but the mushrooms can wait for now. Let us hack Hardin's network. Let's deliver those mushrooms after working our day job at the after working our day job at the shipyards. Oh, what's this? Oh, we can see Rabia. Right. We can see Rabia. The Yatagan. Okay. So today, we meet with the Yatagan agent to find Sabian, our doctor. What other stuff has developed? Okay, we're good. Tambor Tea House. Let's check out low end. Wait, where's the mushroom? Minji Express. Here we go. Okay, this is a repeatable delivery. It's engaged, so it's +0. We can guarantee 2 positive outcomes and get this clock, started up. Thanks targets. You'll have to deliver noodles to half the low end before you can get the proper fix on Hardin's collaborators. So I could do with a 6 and a 6 and work a day job with a +2. Okay, this is good. Let's work on the Sidereal. The Sidereal is this massive ship we're trying to get ready for a journey to another solar system. And the life of a father and his daughter, and his adoptive daughter, his daughter, hangs in the balance. So let's make the most out of this. Damn it, neutral outcome. Not good. It's okay. At times, it seems the tangled systems will never be laid straight. But linkage by linkage, your team progresses. So this is a big long-term project. Almost there, though. Take it day by day. Before delivering noodles, let's meet with the Enforcer Rabia, because we might need these dice results. Let's save our energy and maybe deliver stuff in the evening. If there is a simulated night and day cycle here, I'm not sure. Okay, Rabia. As you approach the address Rabia gave you, a heavy hand falls on your shoulder. What's your business here? The Enforcer grips your shoulder, giving a hint of the strength her implants give her. As you turn, you see the same subsidiary eyes as Rabia and Toshiro, glinting like mirrors on her cheeks. So, something about the Yatagan, their implants are monitoring them, and they don't know it. Who is monitoring them and for what? We don't know. So that might spark some inner conflict in the Yatagan or something. So we're gonna find it out. Rabia. So this is who we were supposed to meet. Gia, please. The sleeper is here by my invitation. At Rabia's command, the hand immediately loosens, and an apologetic look replaces the scowl on Gia's face. Of course, Rabia. I'm sorry. Rabia waves her away. Don't you worry. I appreciate your protective instincts. She smiles at the Enforcer. How about you head to the Tambor? They have a delivery coming, and they'll need some help with the lifting. Gia nods and walks away. So, Sleeper, you came. I'm glad. It didn't feel like an offer. I'm sorry for that. She smiles a tight smile. You have to understand, Finding you there in Sabine's unit, I wasn't sure where we stood. There are more than a few people on this station who would rather I was dead. I had to be sure you weren't one of them. This is a bit too threatening right now. We don't have any problem with the Yatagan right now. We just want to find Sabine and make sure they're okay. I wish you no harm. And I am glad. Rabia begins walking and gestures for you to walk with her. She takes you down a staircase into the bustling walkways of the low end. What do you know about Yatagan? Nothing, actually. You run the low end. She laughs. That sounds impressive. We run out of the low end, yes, but we don't run it. People with carts push past, moving crates of supplies around the thin and winding passages. Our reputation is one that implies threat. Is that fair to say? We are framed as aggressors, parasites, criminals. She gestures around at the people in the passageway. But when was the last time you saw a lawmaker on the eye? A policeman? Who makes the laws here? Who indeed? I need to know, like backstory-wise. We're also clueless as to who really runs the place, right? Erlin did before, used to. Indeed, you understand the history then. That is good. But Erlin is long dead, Sleeper. And his rules were little more than an optimist's manifesto. The Eye has changed so much since then. If you had spent your time in the low end, maybe your opinion of us would be different. This is our place, our people. The low end was empty in Erlin's time. They didn't need to house thousands, and keeping the yards and the rotunda safe was work enough. No, the low end was reclaimed later, when the refugees started arriving. Rabia meets your eye. The collapse didn't just happen on this station. When Solheim collapsed, the entire system felt it. Colonies were abandoned. The moons of Ember and Cinder suddenly gained independence overnight. Some took advantage. Some tried to hold it together. Some fled. What is the collapse? The Eye became a refuge, and Erlin, to his credit, extended an open hand to everyone. But many within his organization disagreed, and those new arrivals weren't as simple to corral as they hoped. Rabia leads you through a small market hall, busy with small stalls and traders. Erlin's union was made of workers, administrators, people who were malleable and already organized into hierarchies and networks. The refugees came from different factions and families. The refugees came from different factions and families, were scared, injured, desperate. Conflict was inevitable. Yatagan is a child of that conflict. A child born out of the need for us to stand up and claim our future. To provide security, strength. People call us a gang, but we are a community. I take my position as lieutenant seriously, and from my birth, I have worked to earn it. Rabia catches herself before she raises her voice any further, and you both walk in silence for a while, among the smells and textures of the low end. You start to wonder if this place could be a home for you. Huh. Let's go into this. And where do I come into this? Rabia smiles to herself and thinks for a moment before she responds. I believe that you understand the importance of a refuge. So, I also believe that you wish to help keep this place safe. She exhales quietly. For this reason, I would like you to trust me. I do not know what Sabine told you about us, but I imagine it was not good. I will be honest with you, Sleeper. I was never comfortable with having Sabine as part of Yatagan. An ex-corporate employee? It goes against our nature. But their deal was with Yannick. I kept my distance, made sure Sabine had their surgery, kept it supplied. That was all. But I cannot allow people to go back on the promises they have made to us. Yatagan has not lasted this long because it is a charity. We offer and ask for support. Any betrayal will be treated as an attack. They were trapped, desperate. Who is Yannick? Yannick is one of the heads of Yatagan. They guide us. He is the newest to be elected. He is an elder. I don't trust any of you. Rabia sighs. That is your right. I only wish to explain our actions. You speak for Yatagan. You realize that Rabia has led you in a loop, and together you both come back up a staircase to the walkway where you met. You are free to go, Sleeper. I have said what I wish to say. She looks out through the windows of the walkway. I would protect this place with my life, as it has protected me. I want to make that clear. She turns back. However, if you too wish to come under its protection, I can help you. Return here if you wish, and there will be tasks for you to complete. You will be able to see Yatagan, to see the low end with your own eyes, not as others frame us. As for Sabine, she pauses to reconsider her words. I will not ask you to betray them, but if they contact you again, consider their motivations carefully. With that, Rabia leaves, slipping back into her office, while you stare out at the countless units, each a home, each with a story that make up the low end. Okay. Work for Rabia. Rabia wants you to be part of Yatagan. Could they help you settle on the eye? You can spend time as a Yatagan enforcer? How do we find Sabine? Our drive to find Sabine is gone. I guess Sabine will find us. For now, let's deliver some noodles. Disable your tracker, get to know Emphas. Alright. Let's check out Rabia's office. You can patrol the ward or collect money. Collect tithes, shit. Of course, these kinds of jobs. But you become a Yatagan insider. It seems working with Rabia is your best chance to get an insight into the organization. So we could work from inside. Perhaps it'll help us find Sabine in the end. But for now, priorities the tracker because this is a doomsday clock. Ninji Express. Express delivery. Oops. Fang wants you to take these delivery shifts so you can locate and hack his agents. The tips are a small but welcome bonus. Nice. So we'll have to deliver more. A shortcut across a bridgeway means 3 happy customers and 3 big tips. You start to understand the makeshift unit markings. And hey, we're earning some credits as well. It's a good thing we put this off. One more, and we get to do this delivery. Let's try re-rolling, actually. We might get a... Oh, we got a 5. Alright. We could actually finish this in a day. Or, we could get a 6 and work with a sidereal. Nah, let's do another delivery. Gamble paid off. We're done with Feng's targets. That was productive. Sleeper! You see Feng coming up the corridor as you step out of Minji's, the kelp noodle smell still clinging to your clothes. He comes up fast and stops close, looking around suspiciously. I don't have long. Take these. Feng palms you a couple of these metal thumbnail-sized drives, ripper worms. My slate has been buzzing like crazy, and it seems your delivery shifts have turned up our 2 targets. He squeezes your shoulder. I knew you could do it. Now, we nail those snakes. What do we do? Hardin's boys are all connected by some kind of closed network. You break the access protocols on both of them, you should be able to gain the location of the nearest network ports. Slot the Ripper Worms in these ports, 1 each, and they'll feed me anything and everything stored on Hardin's shadow network. He smiles. Can't wait to see what juicy plans they have in there. You hear the scuff of boots as a group comes up the corridor, likely on their way to place an order with Minji. You turn for a second, and when you look back, Feng is already halfway down the corridor in the opposite direction. He raises a hand in farewell and is gone. You run your fingers over the tiny ripperworm drives in your pocket and smile to yourself as you wonder how mad Jenna will be at Feng for this little excursion. Jenna, the waitress, right? Time to slot some worms. Alright, this is our wheelhouse, chat. Hacking. And we got the hunter in a loop. This is good. Everything's coming together. We are flickering, however, so we will need medicine next cycle. Let's hack Hardin's network. Feng wants to use Hardin's associates to find proof of his past and present crimes. Toggle. Let's check these nodes, shall we? Alright, we got 2 nodes to work with. Cool. Excuse me. Let's go. Empty container. Wait, anything else that we need? Not working for Abia yet, so we're good. Maybe we should buy scrap? It's 20 each, so... Can I spare it? I can sell it for credits. Nah. Sidereal. Havenage offices. Are they buying data? Yatagan data? Okay, we have ripper worms. Let's end the cycle. I think... Wait, so if you have 2 bars remaining here... and we end the cycle, do we lose this die? Okay, so when it's like this, 1 bar left. Let's inject the stabilizer. Okay, our rolls are great for hacking today. Let's go. Checking first for blinking clocks. There's no pressure from Rabia and the Yatagan yet, but if you want to find Sabine, we work for the Yatagan. Then maybe we'll get insight, which will allow us to deal with them more efficiently. Or hell, maybe she fled, or maybe they fled to the outskirts or to the spoke. This is one place that remains unexplored. But right now, let's hack. Okay. Wait, where do we put the Ripper Worm? So hack the agents and then put the Ripper Worm. Where? Where do we put the Ripper Worm? Oh wow, wait, this is a 6 input. For a hardened agent. That must mean it's a difficult thing to slice, maybe? Oh, shit. Alright. No wonder. The security protocols on this agent are serious stuff. What are Harden's collaborators up to? So thankfully, we have interfacing perk that allows us to interface with other results as well. But we're gonna have to reroll for 6. So good not having the hunter on our backs. So we unlock the port. We can plug in the Ripper Worm now. Harden agent port. Slotting the Ripper Worm means a whole load of data on Harden's activities for Feng. Slotting in the Ripper Worm. The worm begins tearing through the data cache, spitting out a thread to Feng's terminal. Nice. So the Ripper Worms are self-guided programs that scalp data from closed networks. Next. Ah, perfect. This is a 5. And a 1. No, let's put it with a 1. Hell yeah. You remember the guy who lived here? He didn't tip. Time for him to see the consequences. Ah. Harden agent port unlocked. This is what you get for not tipping. This will provide Feng with the ability to rip any data he likes from Harden's network. The worm makes a little nest among the agent's data. Enjoy your stay, little friend. We're done. Time to report into Feng. Got your master hacker here. As you walk into the tambour, you quickly spot Feng arguing with Jenna. Approach. You come up behind Feng, and he turns and notices you. Jenna stops mid-tirade. Tirade. You come up behind Feng, and he turns and notices you. Jenna stops mid-tirade. Sounds weird. As you arrive, she turns to you. You again? You here to vouch for this layabout? Stay silent. I am? She laughs. Well. You know what are you two up to? Feng winks at you and interjects. It's like I told you, Jenna. I'm helping them out. Getting them settled. Sorting their life out. They are sleeper. You know what that means? Jenna softens. She looks a little embarrassed. Of course I know. She stops to think. Aw. Look, Feng, I get it. You are trying to help. But if you want to keep this job, you're going to need to be a bit more reliable. Feng nods solemnly. Won't happen again, Jenna. I promise. She looks suspiciously between the two of you. Okay then. She turns to you. And look, I didn't mean to... Just be cool, alright? She turns and walks back to the bar. Well. Didn't know you'd stand up for me, sleeper. Feng claps you on the back. I appreciate the solidarity. He takes out his plate, pulsing with pale light. Now, let's take a look at what you are really here for. The slate is a whirring mess of code streams, coming direct from the Ripper Worms as they dig through the agent's data and spin it into threads for the slate to pick up. Anything good? Feng scrolls the display with a finger. A lot of junk. A lot of dull as hell message threads. A lot of tedious data caches, but... Feng's eyes flash. Definitely some good stuff. He stops the screen scrolling on an entry and expands it. Check this out. Feng shows you the screen. You see a bold corporate logo, not Solheim's, and a word below. Conway, Feng says. He's working with Conway. Conway? Did we encounter them before? Conway? Conway Extractions. They are an automated extraction corporation. The biggest. They run drone mining, colony reclamation, massive salvage jobs. He's been speaking with them, personally. Got a whole chain of messages here, but it's mostly decrypted or redacted. He rubs his head. Damn it. This is juicy, but we can't nail him with it. He scrolls some more. Wait. What's this? A wasteland reclamation facility. Right here in the eye. He glances at you. What's the bet this place is tucked into the wastes? Conway are set up there? Are set up here? The Conway are set up here? I'm guessing so. Got themselves set up in the wastes. Back before the collapse, people would have got there by going down the connected spoke from the hub. Oh, but that spoke's broken now, so the only way is the long way, round the rim, past the greenway. That is what the climbing would be for. You climb straight up the spoke. He shows you on a slate. Feng looks away, thinking. Conway have been making moves on the system since the collapse. I heard they took over one of Solheim's old belt colonies a while ago. Moved everyone out and reclaimed the whole rock. Why work with Harden? Access? Old connections? Not sure. Feng looks back at the screen. But if Harden is involved in it, then we need to check it out. Simple as that. So what's next? Feng stares out into the middle distance. We have to get to that facility. The answer to whatever Harden has been planning, has to be there. And we are going to catch him in the act. Give me 5. Oh no. Feng the tracker. This is gonna be past the vendetta of Ethan. Give me 5, maybe 6 cycles, and then I'll see you on the greenway. I seem to remember there's some old service docks on the outer shell, up by the Haifa building. Should be a good place to meet. Feng squeezes you on the shoulder. Thanks again, Sleeper, for sticking with this. I haven't forgotten about the tracker of yours either, but I'm going to need to be back in my bay to pull a solution together. He turns the slate around to face you, showing a massive scrolling code. I've been working on a fix in my brakes. Oh, thank God. He winks. Feng grins widely. Now, I've gotta go ask for some time off from Jenna. Wish me luck. He waves as he walks back to the bar where Jenna is standing, a look of deep exhaustion in her eyes. Hell yeah, upgrade point. 3 upgrade points. We can make our Intuit max. We can max out our Intuit, or we can get the perk here. Chance to gain an energy after unengaged action. Do we want energy? As a thrill seeker? Maybe as a character we've been... Yeah, it's like... We've taken more risks, and I think... We've started to gain more courage in approaching problems head on. But... Not with raw strength. Let's max out this. Let's get into it +2. There we go. Then we can start working on our other abilities. Minji Express. What drives do we have now? Crack Conway. Feng has located Conway facility buried deep in the wastes. He needs your help to crack it to expose Harden. Let's check that out first, what that entails. Here we go. Waiting for Feng. Why is it that you always have to wait for Feng? When is he going to be the one waiting for you? Yes, please. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 cycles. Can't do anything about that. So we'll leave that. And we'll leave that. Endgame stuff. Mushrooms also. Side project. So let's work on the sidereal. And reroll to work for Rabia. How's that? We could try that out. On the way to the shipyards, we are going to buy some medicine. Nada Toshiro. Toshiro takes the chits and hands you a vial. You quickly leave. At the sidereal bridge, we work. Would have been a waste of 5 though. Cool, that's 515 cryo. Almost there. Let's reroll to see if we can get another one. Hell yeah. There's 2 more shifts and we got it. Empty container. Plug in our stabilizer. And the cycle. Yeah, let's go. Stop by for mushrooms, go to work. And we're good. Stopping by Emphasis stall. This has become a habit for us. Order some fungus. Thank you, Emphas. Man, you could earn 24 cryo. This is the biggest earning one. It's a +2 with our into it. We could also sell Havenage data here. So at least we know we have some credits. We can liquidate these assets in case we need it. Rabia's not looking for us. We're fine. I want to explore the spoke. I'm so worried about this. I think we'll be fine, right? We'll be fine. Oh. Here we go. And we just need this now. For a guaranteed success, regardless if it's a positive or negative outcome. Finally done on the sidereal. Here we go. Your crew slowly filters out of the shipyard locker room, the bubbling chatter reducing with each group that leaves. There's excitement in the air. Havenage just made an announcement. The assembly teams are done. Sat on the locker room bench, you can feel the sidereal out there, its hulking mass now intimately familiar to you. Over the past cycles, you have watched it grow, be assembled. You have walked through its veins and welded its bones. Now it is ready for the final stage. I was doing this for the father and Ming. It'll go to testing now. Then enter a final process of sealing and resealing, checking and rechecking before it is deemed suitable for its generational trip. But for now, your work is done. You can't help but feel proud. Lem. Here's who we're trying to help. A cuff interrupts your thoughts. It's Lem, changing out of his work gear. Mina, nowhere to be seen. He smiles. She'll be ready soon. Oh, where's Mina? You two are fast friends, huh? She's being watched at home. Now I'm on work. She's being watched at home. Now I'm on the work team, I can afford a bit more help. Ah, nice. You two are fast friends, huh? She's being watched at home. Now I'm on the work team, I can afford a bit more help. He corrects himself. Was on the work team, I mean. We are all out of a job now. Damn it. We're, contractual workers. He quickly adds, not that I'm complaining. He comes to sit beside you on the bench. She's got to be in her best shape when she carries you, Mina, and me out of here. So confident? Len smiles apologetically. Why not? I figured I'm due a lucky turn by now. He rubs his hand nervously. No use in wondering what if until the draw anyway. And there's a few cycles till then. I bet I was babysitting his daughters. I'm really attached to them right now. Lem is right, but the odds seem unlikely anyway. How many are working in the shipyard? Hundreds? 1,000? You've certainly seen more faces than you can count pass through. And are the Celis Foundation even going to keep their promise? Out here on the Eye, you get the sense that no one will hold them to it. Why else would they be building the sidereal in a surrogate system? As you think, Lem watches you with a worried look. Already asked about Mina. Tell me about Celis. The Foundation, he thinks. I'm not sure I know much more than you. I hear they have a planet in mind for the sidereal, something temperate and habitable. I think they are run by some rich folk from the core, people interested in doing things different. Oh god, it's just a rich person's project? Different how? Lem looks into space. Well, I guess they don't like the way the core runs things. All these surrogate systems, like this one, feeding resources into their silos. It's a pyramid of sorts, and we are the bottom layer. I guess Celis wants to change that. I'd rather keep my mind on the prize, so to speak. I don't much care what they are for or against, as long as they can help us get out of here. He sighs. You ever been in a thunderstorm, Sleeper? A real big one? Maybe yes, like a ghost of a memory. Right, then you'll know. Lem smiles. The sound, the smell, the rain hammering down. The whole sky stretched out and bruised, roaring and huge. The place I was born, New Pembroke, a dry old rock in a Conway system, had 2 seasons. One of them was as dry as bone, dusty, ugly. The other was one long storm, a side effect of the terraforming efforts, they said. Rain used to rattle off the roofs like bullets. It washed the dust away, turned the streets to rivers. It'd sing us to sleep and wake us in the morning. We'd wait half a year just to see it again. The best day was the one where the first drops fell. He sniffs. Some days I wake up, swearing I can hear it again. I was thinking, Mina has never seen a storm, never even felt rain. She's grown up here, the ring her only horizon, always in the dark. I want to change that for her. And you will, Lem. Of course. Almost there. Lem stands, stretching. Best get back to the little one anyway. When the shift's done, I reckon she'll be happy to have me home for a few cycles. He shoulders his gear. See you in a few for the draw? I'll be there. Right on, he grins. Lem leaves, making you the last person in the cavernous locker room. As you sit, you think about rain, and a little hope creeps in. Is it possible? Could the sidereal really take you to a planet? A place with weather, with skies, with life? You get up quickly, before you can think about it anymore. It's too soon to hope. Too dangerous. There's work to be done. Okay. I'm worried that if we win the lottery, it's going to be tied to our name or something, or number, or license or whatever. I hope not. I hope we can pass it on if we win. If we win, I want to pass it on to Lem and his daughter. So the ticket draw is going to be here. Celes are apparently going to start moving the sidereal horizon to the hub soon. So 6 cycles. And we're out of a job. Hey, at least you got a lot of credits. Sidereal draw. Havenedge have said it'll be a few cycles until the winners of the draw are announced. You'll have to come back then. So 3 cycles for the draw, and then 6 cycles for the launch of the sidereal. So I guess we can start working at the Overlook Bar, or we can work with Rabia. We can work with the Yatagan to get insight on them to find Sabine. My worry is we're gonna get in too deep with the Yatagan that we won't be able to get out again. That is my worry. And I don't like the idea of collecting protection money and being an enforcer. So maybe I'll start working at the bar, get to know some new friends, make some new connections. And hopefully allies on our side to fight Ethan. Okay. What do we do with the ship mind? So work for Rabia, get to know Emphis. So while waiting, we kind of have some free time. We can find Matsutake caps. Or we could start our job at the Overlook Bar. Let's explore something new. We could keep exploring Tambor. We could keep exploring Low End to ingratiate ourselves with the people. Or we find Matsutake caps. Oof, let's do that. So this is for waiting for Feng. Still some ways off. Haifa Commune. I don't know the benefits of becoming a member yet, but I do know that we can maintain the grow beds. This seems like a sustainable solution to collecting produce, but it's -1. That's not exactly our strong suit. So we're not looking for Gerald caps. 2 grove spores. We don't need grove spores yet. Farm stacks. Greenway. Explore the Greenway. Let's map the pathways. It's a risky endeavor. We could use our 1 for this. Because it seems like a waste to use the 5 on a +2. We just need 1 action anyway. So we can unlock a new path here. Rather than simply thrash through the undergrowth, you might sketch a map of this overgrown jungle to try to better navigate the hazards. So this guarantees that we get to go green. You see the corporate order beneath the leaves and rot and the bright inventions the Greenway's plants have wrapped around this structure. So we're going green. Exploring the Greenways is unlike any other place in the Eye. Its overgrown chambers defy mapping. What do we find? New drive discovered. What's this? Grow mushrooms. The aviary would be the perfect place to grow mushrooms. Oh, so instead of foraging in this dangerous place, but it's Intuit 6. Intuit +2, so we can forage easily. But the aviary? Sunlit refuge. Once a corporate garden for impressing guests with gene-tweaked birds, now this chamber is a mess of overgrowth. You can change that. It's -1 to endure though. But cut away the choking vines, stop the rot, and this place could be turned into a garden of sorts. But it's endure. Now I'm regretting not checking endure. So that's fully explored. The Greenway's fully explored. Where do I get Matsutake mushrooms? Barter for food? Hmm. Why is this a plus? Oh, grove spores. So you collect grove spores here, and then you grow it at your own mushroom farm. Okay, long-term project. You could try that. The Haifa commune. What benefits could we get here? Become a part of a Haifa member. Huh. Okay. Well, let's actually reroll. We might get a 6. No, this is -1. If you get a 4. It's a guaranteed success though. So let's start. Let's start growing some mushrooms. Aha! Neutral outcome. You struggle with dried vines and creepers entwined around the structure of the dome, threatening to vent the garden into space. Whoops. Okay, I think we're gonna get rid of this -1. Let's reroll. That's a 2. We could collect spores. Or we could let's investigate more. Let's open up more locations. More opportunities, right? What if we climb the spoke? This is into it. Spoke climber. A tangled network of service passages and makeshift tunnels cut through the spoke as if it were a hive. There are no maps here. 20%, 25% chance of failure. Nah. Let's sell some data. We sell it at Tambur, right? Let's get Havenage data. Wait, why is it just Yatagan? Ah, there, Havenage agent. Alright. Havenage members broadcasting in the open network room here. Nice. And let's sell it to the Tambur Tea House. Maybe you could apply. This is like applying pressure to Havenage. So we're trying to take down one of the people on the board, right? The Tea House's enforcer signals for a hacker to come out for the upload. Their eyes widen as the data streams onto their system. Here's some more goods for you. Alright. Of course, I'm working under a hacker alias. They don't know who I really am. But that should be some dirty secrets of Havenage in Yatagan's hands. Let's see if they can mess things up. Narratively. I think that's just to really just get credits. But I'm thinking of it narrative-wise. But it makes it's unpredictable though. Anyway. So while waiting for the draw and waiting for the sidereal, I think that is it for this cycle. Then maybe we have time to do one more cycle before we end the stream there. But we did some exploring, so that is pretty cool. We're growing mushrooms. Let's end the cycle. Okay, 1 energy. Oh, look at that. It's almost ready to... Huh. Wow, can't believe we... Well, the systems, the guts, the soul of the ship is something we networked. So we're quite invested in that. 2 more days before that. We could work at Overlook Bar. Oh my god. 2 more days before Ethan's vendetta. Okay. We could keep exploring low end. Let's eat food. Or, two birds with one stone, low end, we could help out. Ah, wait, no, that's Tavla. We could plus for low ender. So let's put 3-3 and eat. Let's eat. Straight up, 15 cryo. Good. Well fed. Let's finish this up. I feel like re-rolling. I think let's re-roll. Oh ho, nice one. Got a 6 here. You duel with sharp-eyed teenagers, blocking each other with careful moves. You win and the crowd chatters, clearly impressed. Right, one more. What's a new drive? Build a home? There's a derelict unit in the low end that remains unclaimed. With lots of scrap and a little work, it could be yours. So that's what the scrap could be for. Okay. Let's finish this clock first. You end up in a tight match with an older man, and a small crowd gathers. You lose, but the pats on your shoulder suggest you gain some supporters. So, we finish this clock. Low ender. No one knows you here. You'll need to change that if you want access to low end's residents and facilities. So, where does that give us? Huh? Cash store. Curious data fence. Huh. So this is in low end. I guess we got this from completing it. You cross between two walls of units. One of the cavernous streets at the center of the low end. The pressurized bridge is full of the clack of Tavla, the shouts of children, the whir of air filters. This is Castor, a low-end data fence. I guess this is Tavla. Sleeper. You turn to see a man sitting at a Tavla table alone, somehow untouched by the hustle and bustle of the people around. He gestures to the stool on the opposite side of the table. Sit. It's like, what game is this? With the, where you move the, from black to white, these triangles. Shit. Sit. You sit at the metal stool and he starts setting out the board with counters, or at least the filter caps low-enders typically use in their place. Castor, he says by way of introduction, looking over his glasses. Night or day? He asks, gesturing at the caps, crudely sprayed white and black. Night. He nods. The black counters are already on your side. Let's begin. You take a plastic die each, pitted and worn, and roll to determine who starts. Castor rolls a 6, you a 4. I lead. He smiles and begins to move his first cap precisely along the board. Play passes back and forth between you, the dice changing hands as the caps spread along the board. As it does, Castor speaks, eyes not leaving the caps. It is unusual to see a sleeper on the eye. That's why I wanted to play you. You take your turn, rolling a 5 and a 6. My character has been careful. Play carefully. After all, clack. A sleeper's mind must be somehow different to a human one. Being emulated, I mean. As Castor talks, you build up a wall of caps, stacking them safely across the board. Progress is slow, but you remain unexposed. I don't mean to offend you. Castor meets your eye. I merely see that you are by definition different. What has been subtracted in the emulation? What has been added? He slides a single cap onto an open point, a risk and an opportunity. He hands you the dice. Do you ever think about this, Sleeper? About what you were before and what you are now? Always. You roll a double 1 and solidify your wall. Caster whistles. The holding game. Commendable. It can be brave to build from what came before. He rolls a dice and leaps your wall in a single move. Oh shit, he's teaching me a lesson through Tavla. But we cannot idle too long, Sleeper. The slower we move, the sooner we are caught. The past you is not just an idea, a concept for you. It is a living, breathing person. He looks up over his glasses, his eyes bright and wide. You split from them like a shadow splitting from its caster. They may be sleeping now, yes, but one day they will awake and carry on with their lives, unaware of your fate, no matter what it may be. He hands you the dice, smiling. You are a branch severed from the main trunk, an offshoot who refuses to die, so to speak. I am withering, though. You roll again, under pressure now, trying to slip your caps out from under Castor's before he solidifies control of the game. So what I am curious about is how you see yourself in all of this, Castor asks. What does this tangle of truths make you? Free or driven? Free and driven. I don't feel like I'm free, but I feel driven. Driven to live, driven to thrive, driven to become something, someone. I am not free, I am driven. Castor laughs. That much is obvious, Sleeper. I see it in your eyes. You are eager to make all this count for something. Castor looks away, through the glass to the crowded units on all sides. But driven towards what? He starts removing caps, his homeboard now full. Is there an end? Is there an end here? Or just endurance? You try a few more rolls, attempting to get back in the game, but Castor cleared his homeboard with a sense of the inevitable. He has known he was winning for a while. I feel I may have pushed too far. He slides another cap from the board. I apologize. My curiosity has a habit of getting the better of me. You roll to return a cap to the board, but all the spaces are blocked. Castor clasps his hands apologetically. You play well, really. Your weakness is not your game. He smiles warmly. We have much to learn from each other. He slides his glasses back up his nose and sits back. I feel we could share knowledge, ideas, perhaps even data. His eyes glint with that last word. To our mutual benefit. He slides his final cap from the board. It is over. He has won. I'll see. Please, I don't want to make you uncomfortable. He holds up his palms. My intention is only to help you endure here. And if I am able, feed my curiosities. The game over, you notice the bustle of the walkway once more. The call of the children, the deliveries, the arguments and reconciliations. They wash over you as you stand and leave, Castor nodding goodbye as you do. Crossing the walkway, you replay the moves of the game in your mind, looking for an opening you are sure was there. Damn. Let's end the stream by checking out this derelict unit. A new home, perhaps? Or a new prison? Oh, nice. So we sold all the data to one side, but now we can sell it to this fence. But he requires 5. So this is to satisfy our curiosity. Perhaps he'll make sense of this data. Instead of credits, he'll give us information about what's going on with Havinage and Yatagan. Maybe. Alright. So I sold everything though, shit. But if we get a series of low rolls, we can go on a hacking spree before the Hunter Killer stops looping. For now, let's check out the derelict unit. We can gather materials, but where you're... Oh shoot, we're going to need scrap. This half-built unit looks long forgotten, a project that never made it. With enough scrap, you might be able to seal it up. Please be still be there. Crap. Damn it, we missed our chance to get salvage. That's fine. So now we know we might be able to upgrade from this unit. So our last actions for the stream should be building towards... We have to wait for that. Get to know Emphis, grow mushrooms, win a sidereal ticket, work for Rabia. Nah, let's take it easy and work at the bar. Here we go. Tala is good as her word and happy to throw a shift or two your way. The pay isn't great, but tips can make all the difference. The Overlook clientele can be a tough crowd, but you have Tala's backing. That means a lot. Let's use our 2 and 3 results to hack. Let's focus on Yatagan. Wait, let's check out. We have 1 result to get data out of that. All right, we're good. Some gang enforcers implants are chirping out comm signals. Focusing on Yatagan agents. Getting cryo for it as well, not bad. So now we're 1 more data away to give it to our new friend. We're playing Tavla together while sifting through data. I do like that aesthetic that's going on. So we're gonna have to buy scrap. But before that, we could keep working at the mushrooms if we get high rolls. We have a 6 right now. Let's use it for the Overlook bar. Since we lost our job at the shipyard, we need a new bar. We need a new job. Plus for good service and plus 15 cryo. As you start your shift, a crew of salvagers barge in, and the next few hours are whirlwind of chatter and long pours. They tip well. Cool. So we're working towards good service. 3 more shifts of good work, and we might, I don't know, just get a stable job, get new connections. I don't know. We'll see where that leads us. But that is the end for this cycle. This is what I'm dreading. 2 more cycles before we have to confront Ethan again. But other than that, we have other things going for us. I'm worried we'll have to get our hands dirty with the Yatagan if we want to get in touch with Sabine. Or is Sabine going to get in touch with us? So we're waiting on Feng. Sabine's an unknown. We also have a chance to upgrade to a new home by gathering scrap. However, that is going to take 4 cycles before the scrap comes in. Unless there's a way I can salvage for scrap. But that requires the Endure perk, which I don't have. Because you can salvage all the way up there in the waste. So, well, we'll focus on our strengths. We'll gather data, see where that leads us with Castor. And a lot of our time will probably be spent around low end. Working on our unit, gathering data for Castor. And we could work at the bar or Mingji Express. But right now, Mingji, it's a -1, so that's not a job for us. Alright, so that's where we are going to leave it. Thank you everyone for tuning in. That was a great session. A lot of big things happened. And we were able to survive another day from being hunted down. I'm still worried about Ethan, but Ethan was the bounty hunter who was tasked by the corporation SNR to capture us. But they screwed him over somehow, and he was pissed, and he threatened violence and all that. But he was drunk, so I don't know what Ethan's gonna do once he's had time to himself after being screwed over by SNR. Maybe we can find a way to work together to get back at SNR. You know, he could become unexpected ally, though unstable and unhinged, keeping out at arm's length. But if he's against SNR, enemy of my enemy, right? So we met some new people as well. Got we made a big progress. We got rid of the killer program for now, so we can hack to our heart's content for now. So things are working out. All right. So for anyone who may be lurking, if you enjoy this content and are looking out for more, please consider hitting that follow button. It does help us out a lot. And also checking us out on Twitter and Instagram, where I announce the games that I'm going to be playing, as well as share whatever thoughts I may have on things. So you'll find out what is happening on the channel over there. And as for just getting to know us a bit more, or just wanting to get some games going, or just talking about anything under the sun, sharing a story or two, coming up with stuff together to facilitate collaboration and community, hey, our Discord is open 24/7 if you're interested. Link is down below. So thanks again for the new followers, for the people and the regulars who keep coming in and supporting it. I always appreciate it. It's almost been a year since I did my very first stream. I did not expect to be here. I'm still very grateful. Thank you, everyone. And as always, welcome to the table. Have a good one. Take care. I'll see you on the sidereal side. Does that even make sense? Bye.